Hey, you listening right now. Yes, you. This is Ethan from Bacon and Eggs here, and I just want to ask you a quick favor. If you're enjoying what you're hearing from our podcast, tell a friend. The best way to spread a podcast is word of mouth, and people value the recommendations from their friends. So next time somebody asks you what to listen to on a long drive, drop our name in there, or just grab their phone and subscribe while they're not looking. Whatever works. We just need your help to keep making this podcast bigger and better than before. So if you love it, tell a friend, subscribe, and drop us a review.
Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And we're coming to you again from a long, long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
So fly off in a hunk of garbage.
And admit you may or may not need a pilot.
Because we've got a special guest today.
For Star Wars Episode VII, The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens! Our special guest today is none other than Sacramento-based model, actor, rock star, dancer. You want it, he does it. You pay him money, he'll do it. His name's Sam Jones. He's a longtime friend of the pod. Sam, who are you? And welcome to the pod. It's good to have you.
Hey guys, it's good to be here.
It's great to have you here on here. We're super thrilled to be talking Star Wars today. It's been a whole week since we talked about Star Wars. I know I'm jonesing, and I know Tyler is. He keeps texting me about it constantly at all times. But we got a couple things we're gonna run down real quick about the movie, and then we'll just dive right into things.
This movie was released December 14th, 2015. That was 876 days ago on a shoestring $258.6 million budget. Ethan, did it make any money off of that?
Yeah, it made a whopping $2.086 billion worldwide, which makes it the third best movie of all time, adjusted for inflation, behind Avatar and Titanic.
Oh, adjusted for inflation.
Yeah,
though.
It did have the best opening weekend of all time until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, right, Marvel. Let's go.
Yeah, Avengers Infinity War did beat it, but just barely, actually. Just by like $5 or $6 million.
Well, it did get excellent reviews. A 93% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 88% audience rating, and an 81 on Metacritic, which are just insanely high scores.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, for like a new franchise movie, you don't see a lot of that.
No.
Did a lot better than Infinity War.
For a fourth sequel, yeah, that's high. That's high.
This is like a sixth sequel.
Well, no, it's the fourth sequel or the third sequel. There were 3 prequels.
Oh yeah,
4 prequels. It's a complicated hierarchy.
Anyway, did anybody not like it?
Yes. Not nobody. Somebody didn't like it. I have a negative review here from Jay Olson of Cinemixtape, and he says, it's a rancid piece of dialogue that shines a harsh light on Abrams' mystery box brand of plotting. Trinkets in lieu of layered storytelling. Smoke and mirrors on top of smoke and mirrors. Legions of Star Wars fans have been through so much they won't allow themselves to be disappointed again. Fair enough. But The Force Awakens cares for them only as far as their pocketbooks. It's a fan fiction writ large, making it clearer than ever that, for better or worse, George Lucas is Star Wars. With his voice gone, all that's left are tiny reverberations of movie history. Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
It was painful.
That guy hated this movie.
That guy hated it. I have a positive review coming to us from Christopher Orr of The Atlantic. He says, with The Force Awakens, Abrams has begun one of the most important reclamation projects of our time. The complete erasure from culture and memory of The Phantom Menace and its sequels. Which I thought really fit with this podcast.
That was the best way that could have possibly gone.
That guy...
Oh my lord!
Well, wasn't it not totally an erasure because there's still supposedly the skull of Jar Jar Binks somewhere on Jakku?
Is that true?
Yeah, it's a rumor that I heard that while Rey is scavenging for stuff, like somewhere in the set, J.J. Abrams put the skull of Jar Jar Binks up there.
That's a pretty J.J. Abrams thing to do.
It sounds like something you would do, right?
As long as there wasn't like a polar bear in there.
Sam, real quick, tell us your background on Star Wars. Like, how did you come to these movies? Have you seen them? Are they something you like? Or did you just do it because we asked you to?
Star Wars is something that I can't remember a time in my life where Star Wars wasn't a part of my life. My 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th birthday parties were all Star Wars themed. I loved Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader, and I think I just fell in love with the lightsabers to begin with as a 5-year-old boy, just really loving sword fights and all of that sort of swashbuckling stuff. And it wasn't until a little bit later that I started getting more into what the real stories were, as I started becoming an actor and starting to think about all the wonderful things that are happening there. I watching Force Awakens today, like the relationship between Han Solo and Ben and Luke and Leia, it's so Shakespeare. It's so cool to watch. So I really don't remember a time before these movies.
Well, that's what we like to hear. I'm super glad
Yeah.
you weren't like, no, Star Wars is such a waste of time. I don't know why you guys asked me to do this.
Absolutely not.
Because there are people out there who haven't seen these movies. There are people out here who don't like these movies, and we have yet to run into any of them for this podcast.
Those are not my kind of people.
Yeah, no, pretty much everybody said the same answers. Like, Star Wars came to me among a dream when I was 5.
Of course, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think the first one I watched, I think I saw them out of order because my first memory of Star Wars is watching Last Jedi and falling in love with
What?
Yeah, right? Yeah, I was like 4 or 5 years old. So Last Jedi
Sam,
was...
Last Jedi is the newest one.
No, Last Jedi. I'm sorry. It's Last Jedi.
Return
My
of the
bad.
Jedi.
I'm a time traveler, and now Return of the Jedi is my earliest memory. But I'm sure I had seen the other ones before because nothing was like... I didn't feel left out of anything. I knew who all the characters were, so I'm sure I had seen the other ones before. It's just one of my earliest memories. Yeah.
Now, how deep did it go for you? Because I personally was not into the novels and the bonus movies and stuff like that. It was all Star Wars gospel for me. Did you read the books or anything, or was it strictly film based?
I read the books like as the prequels were coming out before I knew what taste was and before I knew that the prequels weren't very good. I read some of the books involving like Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan and then Obi-Wan training Anakin going on their various adventures. And you know, I was young, so I had like coloring books and I had every lightsaber that there ever possibly could be, and I was, you know, bullied mercilessly for it by bigger kids on the playground for my love of Star Wars, but I didn't care. It was everything that I loved.
Golly, you're high school or middle school, whatever school you're in where people are bullying you for loving Star Wars.
Oh,
Doesn't sound like a place I want to be.
Yeah, it was elementary school. You know, time has passed. I'm friends with a lot of those people now, so they've moved on. I've moved on. We're fine.
I just can't imagine anybody in my elementary school like not liking Star Wars.
Right. That's so wild.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
right?
Well, great. Good. Go ahead.
No, I
Ian.
was gonna say we were all young when the prequels came out. Like, we didn't know any better than to not like them at that point.
No, we just really liked. I mean, we just really wanted to see the lightsaber fight with the double lightsaber, and
Exactly.
and
Darth
we
Maul
thought,
was the coolest.
you know, and all of us going like anyone who saw the Star Wars movies and wanted to be an actor later in life, they saw the little kid Anakin, they were like, oh, I'm gonna be in a Star Wars movie someday because I'm a little kid too. So that was, I think, what my trajectory kind of aimed me to. You know.
Well, they're still happening all the time. That dream is not over for you yet.
No.
Well, you're not going to be a little kid in Star Wars. I can tell you that.
No. that part's probably gone, but you know, there's still hope.
A new hope.
You know what I
Yeah.
love is that, speaking of people growing up like wanting to be Star Wars actors, John Boyega, who plays Finn in this movie, his parents don't get it. Like, neither of them give a crap about Star Wars whatsoever.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I guess his dad's kind of bought into it, and his mom's just like, yeah, that's cool. Which parts of the movie are you in? Those are the parts I'm going to watch. That's it. He was like, they want me to do real life stuff. They're big Bruce Willis fans, which is
Because that's real
hysterical.
life.
This dude is the Star Wars guy, and his parents are just like, yeah, that's cool, I guess. Like,
Cheering from the sideline.
yeah.
Jeez.
You know, kind of like the parents at the high school football game, the like parents of the quarterback wondering why their kid's not on the field while the team's on defense.
Oh my god. Well, why isn't he playing? He's not supposed to play right now.
You know what? Just whatever.
Yeah.
We'll put him in.
God.
He's the best one out there anyway.
That's fine. That's so. I didn't know that about John Boyega. That's interesting.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
let's dive into The Force Awakens. Do you want to do any like initial impressions, or do you just want to dive into the story, or how do you want to do
I was
it?
gonna say we're starting the thing where we do the spoiler-free reviews for a little bit. I think we should keep with that for at least a little bit and talk about, you know, just how we felt about the movie, what it did for you, what it was like, you know, as part of the series, everything like that, and then dive into the story.
So, do you remember when you first walked out of this movie?
Oh yeah,
Because I do not.
I do.
Share that experience with me.
I remember watching this movie for the first time. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning when my showing started, because that was the only time I could get tickets for. Because I had to see it the first day. It was the only time available. Was literally like 3 o'clock in the morning. And so it's like almost dawn, and I'm getting out of this movie, and it's from the minute the movie starts, it feels like you're talking to an old friend. It's like
When the fanfare happens.
yeah, when the
That's
when the crawl
I
starts, I'm
cried.
just like,
I knew that.
oh man.
Yeah, I watched The Crawl and just immediately a big grin grew on my face.
Right, and even in the first few scenes, it felt right in a way the prequels never did.
Yeah.
It looked more like you don't think about how the prequels don't look like Star Wars until you watch the new series, and you're like, no, that is what Star Wars looks like.
And even the crawl was like easy to understand. There was nothing about like there's a trade war going on. It was just
Right.
like here's the brass tacks. Here's what's going on. We're looking.
Luke
for
Skywalker's gone.
Yeah.
He's been gone for a long time.
And from the ashes have risen the
Yeah.
First Order, and their objective is to find Luke Skywalker. Like, bam, 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 you have the whole movie right there.
Yeah.
And you get immediately put into the same kind of story of New Hope. It's a rebel getting plans or getting some kind of information. It's and them coming under fire after that, and an incredibly menacing Darth Vader-like character being introduced immediately. It's the same way, and a lot of people criticize the movie for that, and they say it's too much of a ripoff of A New Hope, but it just felt like the sequel it was supposed to have.
Well, and A Phantom Menace was the same way. It's like they're trying to, they're not trying to. They destroy the Trade Federation ship at the end, and it's the whole same story.
Yeah.
There's just a big pod racing thing in the middle.
The people who are complaining about the first movies of whether you're talking about the prequels or the now sequels, the 7, 8, 9 movies, all kind of following the same form. It's like, yeah, that's what I mean. The form worked the first time. Let's try to follow the same form again. It's not. I don't see an issue with it. It's what Star Wars is to me. We gotta follow the same thing if we're gonna make it work.
Yeah, and I feel like they follow the same form and they bring nuance to old ideas. And you can say it's not anything, but the Luke Skywalker character being a female is a big deal.
Huge.
Like, that's cool. That's very cool, and that's a huge step for progress. So I'm all about.
Yeah, it's a huge nod to a group of people that maybe not necessarily need it, but like definitely want better representation like that, and it's pulled off without being campy or being cheap.
Right.
It doesn't feel like Disney is like, look, a girl. It didn't feel like that. She's a real character with genuine issues, not knowing her parents and living on a planet where she's literally hunting for things to feed herself with.
Right, to eat.
To eat. I mean, so she has big dreams, and she has a clear, I have to stay on Jakku to wait for my parents to come back. Is they're coming back? I swear they're coming back. And she's a really, really compelling character, and so it doesn't feel like they're just shoving down like female empowerment and female diversity down our throats. Not saying that it's not something that we need in movies and television these days, but the fact that she was so well written is what really makes this movie so great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She does so much and says so much without really saying anything.
Well, her first couple of scenes, she has no dialogue.
Right. Just watching Rey at the beginning of this movie was so compelling, is because you had this big, huge scene right at the beginning of the setup, the whole issue. We introduced the First Order, we introduced the Resistance, whatever they're calling themselves. I can't remember. I mixed it up. It's a Resistance. Okay. I mixed it up between all the different movies, the Separatists and the Rebels and the Republic and the Resistance.
Yeah, that confused me a little bit in this one. There's the Resistance and the Republic and the First Order, and the Republic. Well, that's a spoiler, so I don't want to get too into that. But there's
it's like an established government.
Yeah, it's an established government already. So there's 3 groups of people, and one whom we don't see for very long in the film.
Right. And I think something else, just building more on the Rey's character being so interesting, is the way it's written. Rey or Daisy Ridley and John Boyega's character, like John Boyega's character is immediately interested in trying to make it like a romantic thing right away, and it's so cool that Daisy Ridley's Rey is just so not interested and is like strictly about the platonic relationship between the two of them.
Yeah.
And I think that, and she's so strong-willed, she's like, this just isn't gonna happen. Like, I'm not just gonna let this happen and we're gonna move forward. Like, I'm gonna let you know this isn't how this relationship's gonna be.
Well, and that's the same way Leia was. It's like she was interested in Luke and interested in Han at the beginning, as just as far as it would get her somewhere.
Right.
She had no particular, eyes on either of them at the beginning. She had this whole I know what I need to do. I need to get myself out of the situation, and I'm going to use these 2 idiots as far as I can. And that's the same way Rey feels about Finn.
There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, the same way Rey feels about Finn, because he wanders in just like water, whatever, and
he wanders in and he immediately puts a target on her back.
Right. He's useless at literally everything.
No, he's an idiot.
You got a boyfriend? You got a cute boyfriend?
Right.
You got a man? Are you in love? If so, what kind? Is it platonic?
And she kind of does that to everybody at the first parts of the movie. I mean, even I wrote in my notes that when BB-8 meets her for the first time, she's like, "Town is that way." He starts following her. I'm like, "Oh, it's Shrek and Donkey." Aww.
Oh, I
Shrek
never
and
even
Donkey,
thought about
that's
that.
what you went for?
Yeah.
That's great. That's so true, though.
It's Shrek and Donkey.
That's so true, though.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is it was such a I don't see under any circumstances. I could see if you're like, oh man, it's not the best Star Wars. It's like, it's not my favorite, but I don't see how under any circumstances nobody likes this movie. Like how do you dislike this movie?
It is extremely good. It's very, very watchable. It's accessible. If you're paying attention, all the pieces sort of come together. There's a couple spots, like in any Star Wars movie, where you're like, we just jumped from one thing to a totally different thing, and I don't understand what's going on now. But like, go ahead.
I had completely forgotten about the monsters in the Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah,
I had
I don't know what's going on with
completely
that.
forgotten about that whole thing about the guys coming on and like Han Solo had tricked a bunch of dudes into swindling money out of them like that. I was like, wait, oh yeah,
Tell
this
it to
happened in this
Conja Club.
movie. Yeah.
I feel like the purpose of that was to establish that like Han Solo is a smuggler and he's not necessarily a trustworthy guy. And if you haven't seen the original series, this is how we're gonna explain.
Right, it's like you can totally get away with seeing this movie. Like you can't get away. We've decided, I think, after watching all 6 of them back to back to back. It's like you can't really get away with seeing the prequels without having seen the original trilogy. Like there's a lot of stuff ruined for you. Like this
in the original trilogy.
This movie you can just dive in and it's a brand new beginning to the whole Star Wars thing. It's a brand new movie and it's so well done in that like there's a lot of concessions you have to make. And I love A New Hope. I love A New Hope. There's a lot of concessions you have to make to love A New Hope. You have to be willing to forgive a lot of dumb dialogue and some not so great acting.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case here.
I did feel like I remember when I first watched it, I felt like I don't care as much about Han and Leia and Luke. I'm not interested in that story arc. I want the new characters. I want all of that. And I remember when I saw it the first time thinking there wasn't enough Poe Dameron because I got like my dad went out and got us for Christmas. You know, I'm 25 and my brother's 30. Got us for Christmas like an action figure from the movie, like what of the 3 main characters. And I remember being like, Poe wasn't in this movie at all. What do you mean he's a main character? And when I rewatched it today, I realized, like when I first watched it, you get so caught up in the previous characters because it's like, that's what you're familiar with. So anytime they're on screen, there's like this whole nother level of emotion and familiarity with it. But when I watched it today, already knowing the newer characters, I felt like it balanced them extremely well. And there was a lot more Poe Dameron in this movie than I ever realized. He wasn't off screen for nearly as long as I thought.
I think you just didn't give Poe Dameron any credit the first time.
Maybe not. I felt like when he died in the TIE Fighter, sort of, so to speak, that he was dead. But nope. Oh well.
No, not at all. I remember my mom gave me the Poe Dameron's X-Wing Lego set for Christmas that year. And I was 22 or whatever, and I was so excited. I remember being that excited.
Poe Dameron's X-Wing?
Yeah.
Oh, the X-Wing. I was thinking of the TIE Fighter because I was thinking, you know how to fly a TIE Fighter? I was confused.
No, the super cool black X-Wing.
Yeah.
Because Disney had to come in and be like, all the ships are different. All of them. All the stormtroopers are different. Everyone looks different. Got it? Everyone looks different. We need to sell more toys.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing on the everything looks different to sell more toys thing. Everything doesn't look different, Ethan. Everything looks better.
Yeah.
Like, man, those stormtrooper helmets are cool. Those X-Wings are cool.
No,
TIE
for sure.
fighters are cool. BB-8 is the greatest droid ever.
Oh my god, he puts C-3PO and R2-D2 to shame.
Oh my god.
We hate C-3PO on this podcast, if you haven't noticed.
The older I have gotten, the more I've learned that I hate C-3PO.
I didn't realize I hated C-3PO until BB-8 flipped out a lighter for a thumbs up. And then I was like, that's it. There's a way to do the droids way more interesting.
Oh my god, so
BB-8
funny.
being voiced by John Ralphio from Parks and Rec.
Is that who he's voiced by?
Yeah, Ben Schwartz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, does all the beeping noises.
He's so good.
I didn't realize how much I hated C-3PO until I was watching it this morning and I saw Leia come on screen for the first time, and you know, I immediately teared up because it's Carrie Fisher, and the music is playing. It's this beautiful moment of Han and Leia reuniting, and then C-3PO comes right in and ruins the entire moment, and it's just like, God damn it, 3PO, get out of here.
Oh, but I'm glad you brought up the music, though, because this, in my mind, it is, as far as Star Wars scores go at least, this is John Williams' masterpiece.
This is Star Wars music at its finest. They use the music, they utilize the old music and new music, the best that it's ever been in a Star Wars movie, in my opinion.
That first theme when Rey first comes on screen and she's, you know, climbing down the inside of the, what are they, this cruiser, the Imperial Star Destroyer, whatever it is. Yeah, that thing. She's climbing down that and she like slides down the big sand slope, and it's just this really delicate piece of like piano synthesizer type music, just bouncy and light and fun, and then it just keeps going and going and going and building into her riding into the sunset in this town. It's just, oh my god, I got chills.
So good.
Yeah, and her catching the lightsaber and having the Luke Skywalker theme playing as it happens. The
da
da da da da da da da da da da da, that one. Oh my god, just absolutely
Binary
gorgeous.
Sunset.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's because it was the first time it was heard was in that scene in New Hope where he's just standing and gazing off into the distance and the two sunsets are setting on Tatooine.
Got it.
And I've made it no secret that is my favorite piece of Star Wars music.
I would 100% agree with you.
By like a long shot. Like that is I love the fanfare, I love the Imperial March, I love all of that stuff, the big showpieces. But as far as
No love for Duel of the Fates?
I never really was that into Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates, I mean, it was ruined by Marching Band, no doubt.
Yeah, that's partially it. Every time something good happens, let's play Duel of the Fates. What's up, guys?
And you got the band director just screaming, Duel of the Fates! Duel of the Fates!
God.
That's just an exhausting piece of music. Like, just to listen to. It's stressful. It's like it doesn't let you breathe at any point, even as a listener.
Am I sweating?
Yeah, you're like sitting there holding your breath the whole time. You're clenching your fists and grabbing onto the chair, and you're just like this.
Halfway through,
What about
there's a dip in the middle, and you yell, "No!"
Oh my God, seriously, it's just man.
What about the fanfare at the end of That was a great.
Oh, with the parade?
Yeah, with the.
Forgettable.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, as forgettable as any piece of John Williams music can be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously not better than.
I was reading the
I just.
I was reading the IMDb trivia for this movie, and it was like John Williams received his like 51st Oscar nomination for this score.
Did he win?
I don't think so.
What did this win? It won some things.
It won some things. I think I definitely won like set design or maybe special effects.
Sound mixing.
I think it won sound mixing.
Yeah.
You
know what movie? I just want to shout it out real quick. You know what movie had really good sound mixing in 2018? Thoroughbreds. It was very good.
Still haven't seen it.
I would be amazed, and I haven't even seen it, but I would be amazed if A Quiet Place does not win sound mixing.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But
Like or sound design or whatever the multiple things you can win for that are.
what movie are we talking about right now?
Force Awakens. I'm trying to find it too. It's not on the Wikipedia page. There's no like, hey, there we go. Accolades. List. Oh, there's a whole separate page.
Did not win a single Oscar.
So it's nominated for
Really?
5.
Nominated for
I thought
5
it did.
in film editing.
Original score, sound
Original
editing,
score.
sound mixing, film editing, and visual effects.
Well, let's
what
see if I
beat
can
it for
figure
visual effect? Probably Mad Max.
Oh, that's your Mad
that's
Max
that's
one,
your
right?
Mad Max one. Yeah, that won everything. It swept.
Yeah.
It did not win directing. The Revenant won.
Yeah.
Mad Max won for Mad
God,
Max
what a
Fury Road
good
won.
year for film.
The other Tom
it
Hardy
didn't,
movie that
actually.
year.
It did not win visual effects. Ex Machina won visual effects.
Oh, that was a good one.
It was not better than Mad Max or this or The Revenant or The Martian. Actually,
Man, what
those
a
are the
good
5
year.
things.
Original
Those are the 5 things nominated for visual effects.
That's a good year for movies, guys.
original score went to Hateful Eight for Ennio Morricone.
Oh, Hateful Eight wasn't even good.
Some people talk about Hateful Eight like it was really
Look,
good.
I am a Quentin Tarantino apologist, man. I love Quentin Tarantino. I do. I love Quentin Tarantino. That movie was crap compared to everything else he's done.
Everything else he's done?
I mean, maybe not some of like the Grindhouse movies, but as far as like major feature films,
I haven't watched it. I don't know.
I fell asleep during the first act of that movie, so I
Hateful Eight?
think it's just a lot. And I saw it on a what is it, 39 millimeter?
Yeah.
I saw it on that. Like I went into DC for the day to go see it because some buddies of mine are like movie buffs like you guys, and we're just like, hey, let's go see Hateful Eight. And it we were like, this is gonna be great, but by the time we got to DC, we were just exhausted, and I slept through the first act because it's slow. It's before they get to the house and everything. Just
oh yeah, this was the year that had 4 movies break the unadjusted box office record.
This is a good year.
Because it
Force
was
Awakens?
it was 2015. It was Age of Ultron, and then Furious 7, and then Jurassic World, and then The Force Awakens.
jeez.
So yeah, what were we talking about? Score, John Williams. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay, we can dive into spoilers now. Let's go for it. Tyler, I need a swoop. There you go. Perfect. We do our own practical effects here on Bacon and Eggs.
I was dancing during that little arm action. I'm sitting, of course.
So, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Let's just start at the top, man. The only complaint I have about this movie is Max von Sydow's character. What is his name?
Who?
The old guy at the beginning.
Oh, I have no
exactly.
idea.
Okay.
He does not have a name. He's just called a friend of the Resistance in the crawl.
Three questions. Who the is that guy? Why is he important? I don't have a third question, but I'll say who the is that guy again. Is the only if you can gun to my head complain about this movie. That is the only thing. It felt like something was missing there. Like there was, even with the crawl, it felt like there was something I was supposed to have seen. Like he was a callback to some old Star Wars movie. Like he was in another Star Wars movie, and he's not. He is nobody. He has a name, but it's like he's credited as something, but I don't know what it is.
He's the three-eyed raven.
He is the three-eyed raven.
That's why
but-
he's so important to this movie, obviously.
Exactly. Because he's, I mean, I guess if you want to argue that, we have definitely argued that Star Wars actually takes place in our timeline, in our universe.
It did, Ethan. It's a true story. Okay.
Well, yeah,
we own this,
midichlorians created the universe, right?
Right. We on this podcast argued that human life on Earth was seeded from the Star Wars galaxy, and that Return of the Jedi was responsible for panspermia.
It's got to be it. There's no way.
So-
Because the prequels wouldn't have been so bad if it was
Right.
fiction.
That's the theory, is that George Lucas made really bad movies because he was telling the true story about what actually happened a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
And we just don't want to believe it.
Right.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so I don't want to delve into spoilers for things we're not talking about right now. And Sam, you not seeing Infinity War.
It's gonna put a big crux on this whole podcast, isn't it? It's gonna really hurt us. Yeah.
No, because I can't spoil Infinity War here because people might listen to this.
Yeah, we're not going to do Infinity War spoilers on this podcast. Like
I have seen
here's
the
the thing.
memes, so I have some guesses, but you go ahead, Tyler.
Well, I feel like there's only so many modern era films that have a reveal like this. Of course, I think the one in Infinity War is a little bit more extreme. But Luke Skywalker standing there at the end, not being dead, being a part of everything, and Han Solo taking a sword to the chest. Right there in the middle.
Well, what I love is just the run up to this movie. And the production is like, Mark Hamill allowed himself to be photographed months and months and months ahead of time, like taking like martial arts lessons and stunt lessons and being at the gym and like getting ready for this movie. And he is in it for 8 seconds.
Doesn't say anything.
Doesn't say a word. And he just totally, and this is the only time I've ever liked Mark Hamill off screen. Because I generally am not a big fan of Mark Hamill's whole shtick. The whole thing he does about like, I'm trying to remain relevant here in the 21st century. But that was good because he just let everybody believe he was going to be a huge part of this movie and just wasn't.
Ethan, why don't you like Mark Hamill?
He's just, I don't know, his whole social media presence kind of bothers me. He's trying to be cool in a way that he's not, and like he's Luke Skywalker. Like, I'm not trying to typecast the guy, but have some reverence for the part.
Now, if you get to be Luke Skywalker, you're just
right.
Luke
He's
Skywalker.
like trying not to be Luke Skywalker. He's trying to not to be typecast. But it's like, you're one of the greatest action heroes ever of all time for the remainder of time. It's like, as long as we have action movies, as long as there are sci-fi movies, people will remember Luke Skywalker. Buy into it a little bit.
I would agree with that.
Like, I get that he's done other stuff. He was in Kingsman briefly. He was the Joker. He's done a lot of voice acting. But he did all that voice acting incognito, behind the scenes, not really trying to be credited, not really trying to force his name out. And then
I don't know that he wasn't trying to force his name out. I feel like up until, and maybe it just be because now I'm in this world, but I feel like up until recently, voice actors in general did not have their name blasted everywhere. Like I wouldn't have known who Tara Strong was or Mark Hamill was the Joker or anybody like that up until I got into like this world of paying attention to who's who.
Well, and
I
there definitely has been a shift in
that's
culture
still
in the past few years of like, let's give everybody credit they're due, which is awesome. Like, I love it. I'm happy about that.
Yeah, download our podcast.
And going to the movies and seeing movies has definitely changed in the last few years, as evidenced by the fact that these records are being broken and succeeded all the time.
Yeah, people are going back to movie theaters. There was a time there where people were like, nah, screw that.
Right.
But I think
it's like Titanic held the
people
record
are
for
back
a
in the
long
theater.
time.
This movie's so good,
Yeah.
man.
And
Sam,
you guys have Movie Pass and everything too, so you guys have found it like even easier to go see movies lately, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Movie Pass.
Do you not have Movie Pass?
I do not have Movie Pass. No, I'm not able to get to the movies as often as you guys.
Yeah. I mean, it just becomes such a more simple conversation when you have Movie Pass, because before it was like, do I really want to spend $12 to see that? Who's going? What times are we going? What is all this? And now somebody asked me to go to the movies, and I'm just like, sure.
Yeah, if we may plug Movie Pass for a second, who is it for? Just one theater, or is it for what is it?
It's any theater pretty much that takes MasterCard.
No okay.
They make it very hard for theaters to not take it. So what it does is it just loads, you pick what movie you want to see and what time at what theater, and all it does is load money onto the debit card they give you. It's like a regular MasterCard debit card.
Oh, this is a great idea.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to implode. Like, they're having issues right now where you're no longer allowed to see movies more than once now, because they're trying to find ways to get people to not use it.
Well, and what's great is like Movie Pass doesn't care if you see movies more than once.
Yes, they do.
No, they do.
You're not allowed to see movies more than once.
Right. So here's the thing: is I don't think they would care if you or I were like, oh, let's go see Infinity War again. It was so good. Let's go buy another ticket. But I think what was happening is people would abuse the reward systems at movie theaters. Like Grandin's got the Grandin Regal Crown Club, or the Regal Rewards. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where you get the card and then you get the points.
Yeah.
So I think probably what was happening is people were going in every couple hours and being like, hey, I would like one ticket for Infinity War. And then they would just get the points added to their card and leave. And I think that's why it was becoming not profitable. I don't think they care if you or I see one movie twice. They won't let us now.
No, I think it had a lot more to do with the fact the company is 100% failing.
It was definitely
Because
failing,
there was a
they
while, there
rolled
was
out
a brief while where new customers were only allowed to see 4 movies a month.
Yeah.
So, and then people rebelled and they're like, well, nobody's going to sign up now. So they were like, okay, screw it. You can do it now, but you just can't see movies more than once. Because they're trying to get people not to use it. It is 100% going to go away within the next 12 calendar months.
Yeah, but I love it while
But
we
I am
have
going
it.
to continue to use the out of it until it's gone.
And I'll just buy tickets for other movies I don't care to see and go see Infinity War again anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that hard.
Yeah.
The theater doesn't care. They're just like, whatever.
Well, there's a lot of theaters by me that like have like assigned seating now and everything, so it does get a little bit tricky to sneak into places if it's a big movie like Infinity War, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All the theaters near me are, except for the Regal, or reserved seat. Well, I mean, I still live in Newport News, so I live 2 miles from CNU. Like, nothing changes. Except that Paragon is now a Cinemark. So, yeah, I mean, I would go see Infinity War again, and I actually didn't think to do that until you just mentioned that, Tyler, and I probably will, because I do want to go see Infinity War again, but I don't have any money.
Me neither. You can support Bacon and Eggs on Patreon, patreon.com/baconandeggs.
Help these boys see more films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sam, you got to go see Infinity War, man.
Dude, I know. Don't I know it? It's like it's on my to-do list, I swear.
Yeah, I mean...
Are you a Marvel fan?
I am a big Marvel fan. I wasn't a huge Marvel fan like growing up. I wasn't super into the comics, but
That's okay.
I started drawing comic books when I was a kid, and I was really into X-Men because it was really fun to draw Wolverine and Spider-Man and Cyclops. It was really fun to do all of that stuff. So when I was drawing comics, X-Men were my go-to guys, and then I was more into DC in terms of the comic books. But these movies are fantastic. So I mean, they have 20 million people come to see their movies every month, it seems like. So yeah, I mean, isn't Black Panther and Infinity War are both still in theaters right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I walked out of my showing of Infinity War, and the next theater, next to the theater I was in, is showing Black Panther, and there were people just flooding into it still.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah, I feel much more likely to re-see Black Panther now that Infinity War is out.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, to have another great superhero movie come out every 6 months or less has been awesome. We're very fortunate for the last 10 years, and I don't think a whole lot of people realize that.
I'm wondering when it's going to blow up.
It's not.
Here's the cool thing, is this is actually
No.
this is the point I wanted to make about The Force Awakens. Now that we're kind of bringing it back around, this is the point I wanted to make about Force Awakens, is that it doesn't matter what happens in the sequel, and this is what I think makes Infinity War timeless, is that it's not going to matter what happens in the sequel, because I've seen the sequel for Force Awakens, and it doesn't matter because The Force Awakens is still that good. Like, The Last Jedi didn't hurt it in any way, and The Last Jedi was a good movie, so I'm not going to complain too much, but a lot of people had a lot of complaints about it. But I felt like there's a big complaint with the Luke Skywalker throwing the lightsaber at the beginning of Last Jedi that's like, well, that just ruins The Force Awakens. But it doesn't.
No.
If you watch The Force Awakens, it's still such great anticipation built. You're still excited to see what's going to happen next. Han Solo still dies right in front of your eyes, and your heart is ripped out of your chest. Like, it is still that good. And if anything, it just takes away from Last Jedi, which, like, whatever. That's its own movie, and it has its own faults and its own strengths. Yeah. So, it like, with Infinity War, if the ending is undone, or if it's changed, or if it's not what you thought it was, it doesn't matter because you left the theater knowing what you knew leaving the theater with that gut-wrenching feeling. So that's where I am. That's the point I wanted to make on Infinity War, to tie it all together.
Well said.
Yeah, so let's talk about the plot of this movie a little bit. This first scene with Kylo Ren landing on the planet and Poe, and you see immediately just how strong Kylo Ren is when Poe shoots a laser beam at him, or a blaster bolt, or whatever you want to call it, and he just stops it in midair.
Were you as, like, nutso crazy excited about that moment as I was?
Yes, 100%.
To me, that was J.J. Abrams saying, we're going to do some cool stuff in this movie.
Yeah, it's like, we're not going to overdo it, but we are going to do it better than the originals, but we're not going to do it as much as the prequels, but, like, it's still going to look cool.
Right. Like, do you remember when in Empire, he was just sitting in a chair and he caught Han's blaster bullets? We're going to do kind of like that, but way cooler.
Yeah, just stop it in midair, going, holy shit, Kylo Ren's powerful.
And he leaves it there for the rest of the scene, and then it blows up something right at the end of the whole thing, right before they go back into the ship.
Right.
It's badass. And the other thing is that I noticed this for the first time today, he not only stops the blaster, but he also stops Poe. He freezes him too. So he's like doing two really, really powerful force tricks at the same time.
It's so amazing to me how well the Star Wars universe has, like, made us realize, like, wow, he's doing two really challenging Force things at the same time. Like, the Force isn't even real.
Yeah.
How do we know that that's challenging?
But we can still,
because nobody else can do
see.
it.
Right.
Because we keep seeing things that nobody previously has been able to do.
Speaking of the Force, how did Rey? This is a little further along in the movie, but how did Rey know about the Jedi mind trick when she's getting out of the clutches of the Republic? Not the Republic, the First Order with the Stormtrooper.
So my theory on that is a lot of people talk about Rey's lineage and how she is descendant of the Skywalkers more likely than not, or that she is another like midichlorian creation of the Force, kind of like Anakin was. I think she's got more lineage to do with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I don't necessarily mean as like a child because the timeline wouldn't quite line up. Mm-hmm. But when she grabs the lightsaber, you can hear both Alec Guinness and oh my gosh, what is his name?
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor's voice calling to her, and Alec Guinness's voice says Rey. And I think, and that was like Obi-Wan's trick, was like the Jedi mind trick. He does it in like every movie, and he teaches it to Luke, and Luke does it in Return of the Jedi. And you know, that's like the thing in A New Hope, is that he's like, these aren't the droids you're looking for, and he does it to everybody. And I think Rey, I think it wouldn't be a stretch to say that when Obi-Wan is struck down, whatever his Force presence or whatever manifests itself in whatever way Rey is born. And that's why he says, when you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine. Like, I don't think it was a Force ghost thing. I think this is that coming full circle.
And you think that maybe something like just deep within her, when she learns that she's a Force user, deep within her tells her like, oh, you can do this thing. You can reach into people's mind. Because I wrote down in my notes, like, when Kylo is trying to get into her brain and she realizes that she can see into his mind as well when she stops him, mm-hmm. Do you think that she realizes that, oh, now I've done that and maybe I can get into the Stormtrooper's brain at the same time, or the same way that I just did?
I don't think it's a stretch to say that.
Yeah, I think I always was always under the assumption that that's where she learned, is that the Force is innate enough with her that she can figure it out almost immediately. She sees Kylo trying to do it to her, and she's like, hang on a second, I can probably do that.
Well, and it's established that she's a fast learner to begin with because she knows how to fly the ships without ever having piloted the Millennium Falcon before. So it's established that she's already a quick learner. So the fact that, one, she's a very powerful Force user, and two, she can just learn by watching someone else do something, this shows that this character is going to be badass down the road. Yeah,
and that definitely echoes sort of the Luke Skywalker thing, in that, like, you know, Luke in Return of the Jedi is only using Force powers that he's seen other people use. He chokes the Gamorrean guards, which is like, Yoda would not have taught him that. Like, he saw Vader do it, and then he did it. So I think that parallel is really cool as well.
I mean, Rey's definitely strong. She's definitely made out to be as strong, if not stronger, than Kylo.
I think she's stronger than Kylo.
It's tough to say, because she never, like she is such an innate learner, but she never does get that formal training that she needs until, I guess, the next film. But even still, it's like the Luke...
For like 48 hours.
Right, it's like the Luke Skywalker problem, where it's like, yeah, he got formal training, but for how long, really? Like, Yoda was training these kids from birth to their young adult years.
Yeah, like Anakin was too old to join the program.
Yeah, like 9.
I mean, I think that just proves that for some of these people, it really doesn't matter. Because, like, Anakin was clearly stronger than everybody else, even though he had not been learning since birth.
Right. Well, and that, you know, he knew how to fly the Naboo starfighter when he got off Tatooine without ever flying a ship before. Stop. Blew up that Trade Federation gunship.
And then there are some very awesome Jakku Tatooine parallels and echoings.
They're both desert worlds.
Yeah, desert worlds with junk traders and gross-looking monster people voiced by Simon Pegg.
Just awful,
awful
places to be.
Have you seen the meme or whatever, the behind the scenes where it's like, where Rey is talking to Han Solo and she's like, I didn't know there was this much green in the whole galaxy. And it's like the pre-production, so it's just green screens on the windows of the Millennium Falcon. And he's just looking at her like, okay.
That's amazing.
Oh man.
I was watching that scene today, and I actually went like, oh, where is that? It's not a place, Sam.
No, it's nowhere.
No, it's nowhere.
Yeah, that's not a real spot.
Imaginary.
Is that New Zealand? Is that where Lord of the Rings was filmed?
That is where Lord of the Rings is filmed.
Yeah.
Not where that
No,
is.
not where that is in Force Awakens.
Imagine if a place like that existed, though. That was beautiful.
I want to go to all the places. That's what I want to do. I want to fly from planet to planet. Like, do you remember that terraforming game that came out a few years ago for the PS4? It was last year. It's not called terraforming, but it's something where like you go to planets and it's like infinite
Talking about No Man's Sky.
possibility. No Man's Sky,
That
that's
game
the
that
one.
everyone hated.
Everybody was so mad because they were like, "You promised me all these cool things, and everything looks the same, just kind of different."
No Man's Sky.
Imagine if No Man's Sky was just the Star Wars universe, and instead of having to go fight wars and stuff, you just got to explore cool planets.
What you're talking about is the Oasis.
Yeah! But No Man's Sky already happened, and the Oasis isn't real yet.
And hopefully never.
Oh, No Man's Sky looks cool.
It looks
wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It looks cool. Oh, I see. They've trapped me.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a big
That's
problem.
what everybody said.
Get away from that buy now button.
Yeah. Is it on the PC?
It's I have a Mac, but it's let's find out. Let's dig deep.
I know it's just I knew it was a PS4 game. I didn't know it was for any other system.
Oh, I don't.
Is it?
Yeah, I think you have to order it. Yeah, so it's not for another system.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that came out, and for like 3 days, everybody was like, "This is the coolest game ever." And then like 3 days later, everybody was like, "I'm so bored."
Because it's like an infinitely expansive universe.
But there's nothing in it.
But there's nothing in it, and like none of the planets are really unique.
And they promised all these things. It was supposed to be this amazing game, and they charged $60 for it. And pretty much every single person was like, "I did not get $60 worth. I wouldn't even pay $5 for this game."
Is there any fighting in it or RPG or anything?
None. There was supposed to be.
I think you have like a laser mine thing, like a laser pickaxe. But it's like a laser that shoots instead of a laser that is attached to a pickaxe. It looks like the plasma pistol from Halo. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. And but you mine like rocks with that to build fuel for your jet or whatever, so you can fly from planet to planet. So the problem with the game was that you ended up just farming for fuel all day and never having enough to get to another planet.
Right. There's like no objective whatsoever.
So that's the problem with No Man's Sky. Welcome to Bacon and Eggs with Ty and Ethan and Sam.
Where we just blast
talk
video
about-
games.
Yeah.
That's another podcast.
There are plenty of
That
those.
is.
I promise.
Oh, yeah, I bet there are.
If I've learned anything from making a podcast, it's that everybody has a podcast.
So, did y'all notice stuff this time around that you didn't notice the first time? Like cool little, not Easter eggs necessarily, but like stuff that caught your eye this time?
Yeah, Maz Kanata is so incredibly that person that voices her.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, but I don't know how I didn't catch that the first time. Maz does not seem 1,000 years old to me.
I forgot that Rey lived in does she live in like a broken down AT-AT?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And she has a little like homemade rebel pilot doll.
Yeah, and the yeah, that's cool. And the helmet is
Yeah,
also
she sits down in the
something cool,
helmet
too.
and this is one of the most compelling things about it is hers, this whole like first 10-15 minutes of her existing in the movie before she meets BB-8, just right there when she sits down and puts the helmet on and she's like eating dinner, and it's just, you can see the same Luke Skywalker thing of like, one day I'm gonna get the hell off of this planet.
Yeah.
Well, and she puts the helmet on. It almost looks like she's like entertaining herself. You know, it's not just survival, it's being a human.
You have to expect her to like be like pretending that she's in a ship and firing guns and flying around and making sound effects to herself, you know?
Right, absolutely. And something I did notice this watch through that I didn't notice other times was that the three main characters in this movie, and I'm going to say the three main characters being Kylo Ren, Rey, and Finn, because I do think that they're the ones that it is really about. When they're introduced on screen, they are all wearing a mask of some sort. Rey's got the I don't know what you'd call it, but like the bandana, the goggles, and the hood or whatever. And Kylo Ren obviously has his mask, and then Finn has the Stormtrooper helmet. And it's, you know, when they take them off, one of the most interesting things about it is that they don't look like anybody. You know, they're not any character you've known before. It's just a Stormtrooper, a Junker, and a kid who was turned to the dark side. You know, he just doesn't, you don't see Kylo Ren and you're not immediately like, oh, that is Harrison Ford's son.
Yeah.
That's what that looks
That's
like.
Kylo Ren.
I did not catch that the first, even this time watching it, that they were all wearing masks in their introductory scene. That's very cool.
Yeah, and actually it's really cool. We were talking about this beforehand, but in The Last Jedi, the first scene in which Poe Dameron is on screen, he's wearing a helmet. And that movie's a lot more about him. So that's just something to note.
Mask off. Mask off. Every time we talk about masks, man, that's the first thing that comes into my head. Is that Future song?
I don't think I know that.
But it's the Molly Percocet song.
Oh,
you know it.
I don't do really like the drug thing.
I know you don't do the drug thing, but it's a song.
Is that what the kids are listening to? The millennial.
slash or hip hop slash R&B song. Is
I
what
went to
iTunes would classify it as.
I went to a seminar today put on by baby boomers on social media and how to target certain audiences. And like anytime they would say millennial, they would just like stare at me because there was like everybody there was at least 10 years older than me. And so they would just stare at me anytime they talked about millennials. And they were talking about the best way to reach millennials and Gen Z, which I guess is the people younger than us.
Yeah, they're the ones eating
right?
Tide Pods.
Oh, God. Okay.
Not anymore.
Awesome. Yeah, not anymore. But apparently the way to reach them with your local business, and bear in mind, I work for a restoration company. There was like a bath fitter and like a mortgage company in this group. And they were like, the way to reach those people is from 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. That's when you want to target your ads for that demographic. Because, I mean, like, you can just... Because their reasoning was that's when the millennials and the Gen Z are getting ready to go out for the night. And I was like, y'all better not stare at me for this one. That's when I'm going to bed. But, whatever.
Yeah, because you're really lame.
Outlier. I'm really lame. I'm the outlier here. But they were like, that's when you want to target them because that's when they're getting ready to go out and that's when they're on their phones, texting their buddies or whatever. And I just want to know, as fellow millennials, have you ever been checking your phone at 9:30 while you're pre-gaming a night out on the town and been like, what would make this night even better? A free quote on a new bathtub.
Well,
that's exactly what I need right
I would
now.
love... I frequently think about how much I would love to redo the bathroom in my apartment, but the unfortunate fact is that I do not own the apartment, and therefore I am not permitted to make that kind of change. Because I do not currently have a bathtub, and there are few things in the world I love more than baths. Because I am deep down 100 years old.
I noticed that when I was in your apartment, I had to go number 2, and I was like, Ethan doesn't have a bathtub. What a weird thing.
I was like, it won't be that big of a deal. It's that big of a deal.
Why don't you just sit down in the corner of your shower and cry like I
just
did?
sit on the seat. It's got like seats.
You should get a chair.
You have like a handicap apartment?
No, it's just got like little ledgy things.
Yeah, it would suck to have
that are not
a
quite big
in your
enough to
apartment,
sit on, but I do it anyway.
What about you, Sam? How's your bathtub?
I have a stand-up shower. I do not have a bathtub. There's a bathtub in the house, but it's not my bathtub. I'm living with my girlfriend and her parents right now, and so her mom has the bathtub upstairs, and I have the stand-up shower. So it's pretty good, hot water, all I need.
Yeah, that's all you need.
All I need, man. Yeah.
But yeah, I do not need a bath fitter, a restoration company, or a mortgage. So none of those ads are going to appeal to me right now.
And especially none at 10 p.m.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's looking for a mortgage at 10 p.m. while they're drunk.
I could think of one person who might, but she doesn't need to buy a house. I think you know who I'm talking about. And she's definitely listening right now. But let's move on. Podcasting.
So who's your favorite of the new characters out of all these people?
I don't think you understand, Ethan. Rey is my favorite film character.
Ever? Okay, it's a bold claim.
Rey's so Daisy Ridley is my favorite character ever in life. She can just hang out with me all the time, and I'll never get tired of it. Like, granted, we never hung out, but like if I was granted 3 wishes, the first 2 would be to hang out with Daisy Ridley.
That's aggressive. That's a big mood, as the millennials would say.
That's a mood.
Big mood. What about you, Sam? Favorite character in the new Star Wars universe?
My favorite new character in the Star Wars universe is definitely Rey, but my favorite character in this movie was Han Solo.
Really?
I think that this is some of Harrison Ford's best work.
Really?
I really, really do. Yeah, fight me on it.
Well, I won't fight you on it, but I will ask you to flesh it out a little bit. I mean, you're the actor here. You're the professional. Tell me a little bit more about what makes this role better than other roles that you've seen.
Well, I mean, and I'm a big Harrison Ford fan. The Fugitive is one of my favorite movies of all time, but there's
underrated film.
Completely underrated film. Switch the samples. God, I love him so much. But there's this moment that I caught for the first time, knowing what I know now about his relationship with Kylo Ren and Leia and everything, where when he sees Rey after Kylo has captured Rey and he's taking her into his ship, and Harrison Ford as Han Solo almost is able to stop him. He sees it happen. And he sees Rey get taken away, and you can just see the turmoil on his face, knowing that he can't reach out to his boy, and being both afraid and disappointed and sad all at the same time of this monster that is trying to take over the universe. And then the immediate next thing that happens is Finn says, "They got Rey," and he pushes him aside. He's like, "Yeah, I know," but he's so he's so taken back by the fact that he just saw his son as the monster that he is now. And then we finally get him to be in a place where he sees him again, and he yells after him, Ben! And it's just this beautiful, beautiful moment, because Leia gave him a very, very daunting task. Like, we're going to go blow up this planet. We're going to go try to get Rey back. Oh, and also, if you see our son, who is a Sith monster, bring him back to me, if you could just do that. So
right, and I know that our good friend the Jedi Master couldn't do it, but I think you could. I think you'll be
just right. Like, the weight of the world is on his shoulders in this movie, and yet he still finds moments of humor. That's not how the Force works. The absolute weight of the world is on his shoulders in this movie, and you can see him just trying to keep it together the entire time. And his scene with Adam Driver is gorgeous. Just some of the best acting from both of them are utilized in that scene.
Just the sheer heartbreak on his face when the lightsaber goes off.
And in both of their faces, because you can still see that after Kylo kills him, he's still being torn apart. After he sees his father fall to his death, like, he's not really relishing it the way that you'd think like a Dooku character or a Palpatine character would. He's so much more complex than that. So
I
really
just not a true Sith.
No.
There's
he's
way
really
too
not.
much light side in him.
Yeah. I mean, and then we can get onto brass tacks about what happens in Last Jedi, where we think he goes full dark, but I still don't think that that's the case. But yeah, Harrison Ford's acting in this is tremendous.
Well, yeah, and it's like you said. I mean, like the acting between the dialogue that comes from Harrison Ford is truly impressive. The way that his character listens to everybody else and responds and looks at everybody, and like his reactions and everything it's really, really well done.
Yeah, and you see you see some of the joking that happens with John Boyega and Daisy Ridley and Poe Dameron. What's that actor's name? Oscar Isaac. You see some of a lot of people complain that the new Star Wars movies are too funny. There's too many jokes going on. Like, did you see A New Hope and the other ones? Like, they're jokes all over the place. But it is sort of refreshing to see Carrie Fisher, rest in peace, and Harrison Ford having some of their scenes together, and you kind of get to see this sort of old school sort of acting style between the two of them, where it's not too jokey, and it's not too like, I'm acting at you right now. I'm giving you everything I need. It's just two people talking, and it's really, really beautiful. Yeah.
It totally is, and you're totally right. I don't know that I have anything to add to that.
So that line when he's asked, are you the Han Solo? And he said, I used to be. Apparently, a little interesting piece of trivia. That line was used there because that's what Harrison Ford says when people ask him if he's Harrison Ford. Like, if he's stopped in public and people are like, are you Harrison Ford? Harrison Ford apparently says, I used to be.
Wow.
What a line.
So there's something, that's just something for you there.
What a man.
He was also the top billed character for this movie, and that was the first time, or the only time, a non-Jedi character is credited first.
So I watched this on Amazon Prime today, and the top billed actors are Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher.
Really?
On Amazon Prime? Yeah. Super bizarre, right?
It's the same way on IMDb.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Mark Hamill, I'm sure he got paid for it, but I thought that was like the thing, was that he wasn't credited at all because he didn't say anything. That was like the whole reason he didn't say anything.
On the poster, a Lucasfilm production, Bad Robot production, Star Wars The Force Awakens, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Lupita Nyong'o, Andy Serkis, in that order.
Maybe it was to throw people off the trail to not give away the ending.
Well, he is like the first person you see. Like, if you just look at the poster too, he is the first person you kind of see.
In the Force Awakens
poster? Force Awakens poster?
Yeah.
He's not on it.
He's not on it. I looked at it today. Is he?
This one I'm looking at, he's on.
The one I'm looking at, the one for the film, has Kylo Ren in the corner, and his lightsaber is sort of parallel with Rey's bow staff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see John Boyega, and I see Harrison Ford, and I see Phasma. Can we talk about Phasma for a second after we
What is the point of her character?
I see the poster you're looking at. It's the Force Awakens where he is in the moon. It looks kind of like a Wolf Cry Moon poster with
I don't know which one you guys are looking at. The one I'm looking at is the one on IMDb, like the main, like you click on the movie.
I have to see this.
I'm looking right at it.
If I can spell IMDb.
How are you not seeing Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Do you know what Harrison Ford looks like?
I'm talking about Mark Hamill.
Yeah, you were talking about Mark Hamill.
No, I was talking about Harrison Ford.
We were talking about Mark
Hamill. Obviously Harrison Ford's on the front.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking about the top billed actor.
Right,
Yeah, no, I was talking about
we were
Mark
talking
Hamill
about Mark
because-
Hamill because his name is in there, but he's not in the movie like at all.
Oh, that's definitely to throw people off. But I was like,
Okay.
what the hell are you guys talking about? Like,
Yeah, no, obviously Harrison Ford was in this. No surprise there.
Wait, I have to send you guys this. Oh, it's an alternate Force Awakens poster. I think it's a fan art thing, so it's not real. Neglect everything I just said. Let's talk
still
about
wanna see
Phasma
it,
for
though,
a second. Phasma, why is she in the movie?
I don't know.
She wasn't cheap either, was she? She was like a big
She's
actor,
she's
right?
Brienne of
Gwendolyn
Tarth.
Christie from Game of Thrones. Yeah, she's Brienne of Tarth.
She's Brienne of Tarth. She's the real
She's like-
deal, man.
She's a big deal. Yeah, she's
she's
a
under the
much
mask.
bigger deal than 90% of the other people that aren't the original 3 characters in this movie.
Is that so? Is Game of Thrones really a big deal? Do people care about that?
Yeah, people care about it. But like,
yeah, people
I couldn't
love
pick,
Game of Thrones.
I couldn't pick. I mean, obviously, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford are big deal people. I did not know who Adam Driver was. Daisy Ridley had never been in anything, and John Boyega pretty much had never been in anything either. And I couldn't pick like Anthony Daniels out of a lineup of one person.
Here's my problem with Gwendolyn Christie's character is that we've never had a leader of the stormtroopers before. You know, basically in A New Hope, the leader of the stormtroopers, if you're looking at it from just the beginning of the movie, is Darth Vader.
It's Darth Vader,
And
yeah.
since we already have a Kylo Ren character, like, what do we need a Phasma for? Like, what's Kylo Ren's official title? You know?
Yeah, because we have a Grand Moff Tarkin, we have a Darth Vader, we have an Emperor.
We have an Emperor.
Yeah.
So it just seems sort of super.
guess
She's
she's
only
Commander
used
Cody.
as a. I guess she's only used as a plot device, though, and
like she gives up so easily when she's a plot device.
I guess
like
just this is the first time you're supposed to see stormtroopers as people, because they want to make it very clear that like Finn is a person, as opposed to previously when you're supposed to see stormtroopers as sheep and you don't care if they die or not. In this one, I guess you're supposed to see stormtroopers as people, so they need to give them like personalities and hopes and dreams and aspirations and ranks and all kinds of stuff, because they're not just sheep, obviously, since Finn can feel things.
yeah, but I did not care for the Phasma character.
Oh, me either.
It seemed she's in 2 scenes and wimps out in both of them.
Right, and then
and in neither of them was I like, yeah, this is an important character. We should be curious about what happens to her.
right,
next.
and we're supposed to care like a lot that she's in The Last Jedi, and like people were like, "Oh my god, that scene with Phasma," and I'm like, I don't give any jerks about Captain Phasma.
Yeah, completely just unnecessary character.
So what I learned through reading reviews and stuff about this movie, though, as long as we're on the dark side, as long as we're on the First Order, people hate Hux.
I don't hate Hux.
I love
I
Hux.
like Hux.
I love Hux.
Like
He's so over the top. He's so in.
He's ridiculous.
he's the perfect replacement for Tarkin.
Oh man, the speech.
Oh my
The
god.
the Nazi speech that he's giving, like sans microphone, where he's just screaming. It's metal. It's so badass. I was for him. I was like, yeah, you lead this thing, man. You take him.
You go, girlfriend.
You blow up the Republic.
Yeah. I'm with you. He was like super evil and menacing, and like Hux and Kylo have this, young, like almost like sibling rivalry in front of Snoke, where it's like they can't seem to get along or agree, but Snoke is still like, you must work together and
Now, boys.
Right. I thought it was great. I can see why somebody would complain about that. I just think those people are wrong, and I don't like
And
it.
it just gets better in The Last Jedi when they're on what's the planet with the red sand or whatever it is, when they're firing at the hologram of Luke Skywalker, and every time Kylo says fire the missiles, he has to yell it louder.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
it's so great.
And they are, compared to the old guard, they are kids. Like both of them are very young people that are just in charge of the whole First Order. Starkiller Base is a dumb name.
It's just a big.
I'm like searching here for things to complain about just to see if there is anything I can come up with, and like it's a dumb name. It's just an obvious Death Star replacement.
It's a band name I would have come up with in 9th grade.
Starkiller Base.
Starkiller Base.
Yeah, that would have been a great band name.
I think so.
I would go to their show. I'd buy their merch.
Question about this, and I have no confirmation. It's just something I've observed every time I've watched this movie. Is Maz's planet, where whatever planet that is, where they go to Maz's little restaurant, and Starkiller Base the same set, but just Starkiller Base is covered in snow?
I think it might be, but here's the thing I'm okay with is the fact that at Starkiller Base, that scene with the snow, the lighting, and the lightsaber battle is so incredibly cool that I really don't care what they say or do or how they did it. It's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think it's a problem at all. It's just something I noticed. There's a part where Rey is being chased by Kylo and she's running through like a hallway of like rocks. And I'm like, weren't we just here? We were here on another planet, right? It looks very similar. It's something I just noticed.
Well, yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because that's something Lucas brought up in the Return of the Jedi commentary. He was like, we ran out of different types of terrain to go to, and I was like, man, you're 3 movies in, you can find more terrain, but whatever.
We have snow, we have sand, we have trees. That's it.
That's it.
That's
That's
it.
all we got.
We have only city.
Right.
Right. Yeah, but that's what he was. I was like, we ran out of interesting places to go, and that's why they were in the Redwood Forest. I thought that would be unique and fun. But I don't know. That's an interesting comment.
I just wanted to go to Redwood for a weekend.
It gives you such an idea of how big Starkiller Base is that it has an atmosphere, like, on the outside, and weather. Like, it snows
snow
on
there.
Starkiller
Foliage.
Base.
Yeah.
On the outside of Starkiller Base. That can't be good for the inside, machinery of the planet thing, but...
Wait, hold on. Are you under the impression that they built the whole thing? I was under the impression that Starkiller Base was carved into the side of an existing planet. You're telling me they built a whole planet?
I was thinking, it was an
with
entire
an ecosystem.
planet.
No, I thought that they carved it into the planet.
I mean, y'all may be right. I don't know. But I just assumed it was like the Death Star where they just built it.
Also, I was just thinking about it, Sam. Starkiller Base and Maz's planet were definitely both filmed on Earth. They were definitely filmed on the same planet. I just want to be clear
you
there.
got me. Okay.
In case you weren't sure where we were with the whole film thing. We did not have actors on other worlds.
That's the question I was asking. Yeah.
You mean they didn't send Matt
Yeah.
Damon to Mars? That wasn't...
They did
I've been
not.
lied
They
to.
can. They can get rid of Matt Damon if they want. He's peak.
Matt Damon.
I'm Matt Damon.
No, but I'm under the impression they carved it into the side of an existing world.
Like, y'all might be right. I just never caught that. I was assuming it was like the Death Star. I thought they only had one plan in the Empire.
I love the scene where they're like, not quite a Death Star. This was the Death Star, and this is Starkiller Base.
And everyone goes, "Oh
And
man."
it's like, oh no. And then they find the exact same flaw where he's like, oh yeah, if you look literally right here, it's the only problem on the whole freaking thing.
How do you blow it
There's
up? There's always a way to
Right.
blow it up.
At least this time they had to actually go onto the planet.
Well, they had to go onto the
They
Death
did
Star
that.
too.
Nah, I just flew by it.
No.
They had to go
Obi-Wan had to go
inside
inside to
Death Star,
turn
too.
off the. Remember, they had to go rescue Leia and also turn off the shields.
Oh yeah, they did turn off the shields.
Yeah.
I don't know. That movie's a little bit
Well,
hard
and
to
then-
follow, if I'm being honest.
I feel that.
A New Hope?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just a bunch of scenes. I love the trash compactor joke they make in this one where, oh god, Finn works in sanitation and he gets to go on the cool Kylo Ren mission to retrieve the plans to find Luke Skywalker. The man's a janitor and his first mission is with Kylo Ren I don't think so. That, I forgive a lot of things in movies. That's a stupid
Well, he
thing.
lied. That's how he got there.
What do you mean?
That he lied to the Resistance, saying that he was higher up in as a stormtrooper than he really was.
That's what I'm saying, is that he's a sanitation worker on Starkiller Base. And they're like, oh crap, out on Jakku is the plans for where Luke Skywalker is. You, janitor, you're coming with us.
I think no, because he says that was his first battle on Jakku. So I think that it was his first promotion. So he was no longer working in sanitation. I had that same thought. Yeah, it's his very, very first battle.
Yeah, I mean,
when he
you can
goes
gather
Jakku.
that when he totally freaks the out the first time he sees somebody die.
Well, and he says it. He says it. It's a line of dialogue.
Yeah, and man, the blood at the beginning of this movie was very important to this movie.
Yeah, there's never been a lot of blood in Star
No,
Wars
that's
before.
the thing is people just kind of die from laser or plasma blaster bolts, whatever you want. I can't figure out the words today. Can't talk. People just kind of die from the blasters, but you never really feel like they die. You felt like that dude died.
Yeah.
The dude who
Like
rubbed blood all over Finn's face.
I feel like if you saw a guy fall to his death in A New Hope, he would land and it would be a very clean ground. But in this movie, if you saw a guy fall to his death, you'd see some blood.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some modern filmmaking. I feel like the Star Wars films are always a good indicator of what that sort of genre looks like at that time. Not necessarily space opera. You can see the parallels between Star Trek and Star Wars over time. But what a war movie or whatever would look like in 1980. 1999 and 2016. You can look to the Star Wars movies and get a general idea of what they came out as, and because it's a lot grittier. It's darker. There's blood. Kylo Ren bleeds after he gets shot by Wookiee blaster, which I think gives credit to how strong Kylo Ren is. They were building that up the whole movie where like the bowcaster kept coming up as like shooting something and then really doing a lot of damage. Kylo Ren takes that shot to like the chest and he keeps going.
Also, I would not say a Phantom Menace or the Phantom Menace has any correlation to the war movies of the age, seeing as it came out like less than a year after Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, like that was pretty gritty.
I mean, Phantom Menace, in terms of war movies, looks very similar to Infinity War. So, whatever.
I'm just
things.
debunking the point you just made.
Well, you know what?
Exception that
I
proves the
appreciate
rule.
you doing that.
Yeah, the exception that proves the rule, though. You know. Also, I think that Phantom Menace was like more marketed towards kids than anybody else.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about with the blood. Is like J.J. Abrams was very clear to be like, this ain't no kids movie, guys. We're gonna do what we're gonna do here.
This is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Right.
Okay.
It's like I'm off the rails now, man. I made Lost. I don't have rules.
Lost was so good. Sam, have you seen
I
Lost?
have seen Lost. Yeah, I loved Lost.
Yeah, like he
I
said,
had
there going,
I had a
sold.
love-hate relationship with Lost, but you know.
He's sitting there going, I sold 6 seasons of this show. I do what I want.
That show was so good for just a little while, and then it was really bad.
Those first 3 seasons, though,
Oh man.
Oh, I
so
know.
great.
Oh man.
And then the fact that I still don't have answers, like that's part of the best part, you know? Keeps me going back, being like, I wonder if those answers are there.
Will I spot
Then we
something
watching
new?
it twice to realize.
Yeah.
Watching it twice to realize the polar bears were in the cages that the Kate and Sawyer were in. Duh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm done.
No, it's good. It's good that you're realizing these things now.
Yeah, because I mean, this is important stuff I'll take to the grave with me.
Yeah, man. Hey, if you were on your deathbed and you didn't know this, like, who would you be? What would people say about you at your funeral?
Right. Like, he didn't realize the polar bears.
Ty was a good
That's
man,
where they
but,
came from.
but God love him. He was just so darn dumb.
Right.
So, what was y'all's favorite part of this movie? If you had to pick something.
I can point it out easily. Easily is the lightsaber battle at the end.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best moment in most movies I've ever seen. It's in like my top 5 favorite scenes ever.
Because let's be real, if you fell in love with Star Wars when you were 4 or 5, you're here for the lightsabers.
Well, and it feels like a real fight for the first time.
Yeah. It's not just swinging swords dinky around like Obi-Wan and Vader were in A New Hope. These guys, like, it really looks like, and it's not overly choreographed like it was in Phantom Menace where they're doing like crazy gymnastics the entire time. No, it looks like Rey and Finn, or not Rey and Finn, it looks like Rey and Kylo are trying to kill each other.
Well, and it reminds me, it does echo one other lightsaber battle that I think you can put in my top 5 as well, is the battle in Empire Strikes Back. No, I'm sorry, not Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi between Luke and Vader, when Luke is just wailing on him right there at the end and just thrashing him. And but this one is even better because I love what they did with the sound of the lightsabers, where they sound heavy
It
again.
sounds so violent.
It has kind of like
it's
a ripping effect, like that whole thing. It
Right.
sounds so cool, and
Especially
also the
Kylo's,
sound of it on
'cause
the. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
The sound of the lightsabers on the snow, which is something we
Yeah.
haven't heard before, is a very cool effect. Like the
Right,
steam coming up from
Yeah,
the
the
air.
steam,
Oh,
the
so
hissing.
awesome.
But yeah, you get close-ups of Kylo's lightsaber a couple times. I'm like, man, that thing is f***ed.
Did you guys watch this in 4K or Blu-ray or anything?
I have no idea.
No, I don't know. Amazon Prime on a big TV.
I was watching it on my screen here in the office and flipping between that and my iPad depending upon what I was doing. And it is so pretty, that battle between the two of them. I'm sure it was on whatever you were watching it on. But like almost every frame from that battle you could screenshot and make your wallpaper on your computer. It's so
Well,
cool.
I mean, that's the
looking.
way for this whole movie, though.
Yeah.
It's like when it comes to set design, the way the movie is set up, just the way the whole thing looks, the way the whole thing was shot is just beautiful from beginning to end. The first scene you see to the last scene you see.
Yeah. Well, in the frame rate, I don't know. This is something that Sam, you might be able to speak to, coming from the film world a little bit more than us. But like the frame rate, I felt like was high enough that like there wasn't a lot of that. Like when you swing a lightsaber in a 1999 film, you can sort of see the whole trajectory of it. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can see the animation lines off the back of it and all that. Does that make sense? Like it kind of makes a fan shape.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. What I noticed about
I feel like
go ahead.
I was just saying, I feel like you don't get that here.
Well,
I feel like instead it's like a lightsaber and it like keeps going.
What I noticed about Kylo's lightsaber in that scene, you know, when he points it and says, you know that lightsaber belongs to me, and he pointed the saber. You could see like little indents of like extra flames coming out of the blade, and you could really tell like it's not just a laser sword. Like this is a dangerous weapon that is
Right.
here to do some damage. It just looks a lot better than it did in the 90s.
Yeah, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that they're inexperienced. Like, I think that's a really cool callback to the prequels. Is that like, yeah, they're ultra, fencing with their lightsabers, and it's choreographed and it's pretty, but they use lightsabers all the freaking time. Kylo Ren only uses his lightsaber to thrash his building. It's like a tool that he has because he has to have one, because that's the mark of a Sith. Mm-hmm. But it's clunky in his hands. He's not like a skilled swordsman.
No, he's not a skilled fighter at all. But he's
Yeah.
so cocky about it, because you can tell the fight between him and Rey is a fight between somebody who's got nothing left to lose and is fighting for her life, and a guy who knows that he can beat her. Whether he can or not, he knows that he can.
And he's got everything to
Right.
lose. If he loses that fight, he loses the First Order.
Exactly.
He already lost his dad.
Yeah, so it's a very, very, very tense moment. It's a great ending to the movie, and it's what the series needed for a reboot.
Oh, yeah, this was... I remember walking out of the theater and being like... And of course, earlier I said I didn't remember, but I remember walking out of the theater and being like, I really enjoyed that movie, but I also really enjoyed Phantom Menace when I walked out. I'm curious how I'm going to feel 6 months from now or a year from now. And it is held up better than it did when I walked out of
So
the
this is...
Like, it is only...
I'll be honest
improved
with you,
over
this
time.
was the 9th time I've watched this movie. Yeah,
Ninth?
9th.
Only the 9th?
Yeah, only the 9th.
I've seen it twice.
I saw it 3 times in theaters, and then I watched it like pretty much every 2 months when it was on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, it was on Netflix for a little bit.
It was on Netflix like way, way early after it came out. Like extraordinarily early for Netflix.
Rogue One is still on
Disney
Netflix.
trying to get that money.
Because
I own Rogue One, so it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But
the Rogue One, just as a topic, as a sidebar, the Rogue One thumbnail on Netflix always throws me off because it's just like 3 stormtroopers standing in some blue stuff.
I'm going to have to pull it up to see what you're talking about. I'm not part of Netflix on this computer.
Netflix
no
often, their thumbnails throw me off. Like,
I'll see if I can...
I'll go to watch like Peaky Blinders or something on that, and there's like not a main character as the thumbnail, and I'm like, wait, but that's not Cillian Murphy.
Gosh, man, that show. How do you understand a word they say in that show?
Man, subtitles are my friend in that show.
Yeah.
I tried watching that show. It can't. It's like very well acted and shot. I just can't understand a word they're saying.
I'll be honest. I've seen the whole show like probably twice through now. I still am missing great big plot points because what are they talking about?
I don't know. Isn't it like the gangs of Ireland or something?
It's Birmingham, England.
Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Yeah.
It's my
Cillian
little
Murphy,
Cillian
the
Murphy
Scarecrow.
impression. The Scarecrow. Yeah.
Cillian Murphy, man, what a guy.
Yeah.
Scarecrow. What a character.
What a guy. Yeah. So back to the Force Awakens, because I've seen like 4 episodes of Peaky Blinders.
It's a good show. You should watch it.
It's on my list. There's
Yeah.
so many things to get to.
Of course.
Yeah. I still haven't seen like any of the Marvel like Netflix shows.
Ooh, you gotta watch Daredevil.
Oh, I watched Daredevil.
Okay.
Daredevil. I could not get past 2 episodes of Jessica Jones. That show is
Really?
unwatchable.
First, I in my opinion, for any listeners who are thinking about diving into this, I am a Jessica Jones apologist. I love the show. I think the first season is terrific. I think the second season is a wreck, but you should watch it anyway because I'm sure that they're going to have a 3rd season and it's going to look a lot better.
Yeah, I struggled so hard with it. And like I love David Tennant, I love Kristen Ritter. It's just I don't know. There's something about it, man. I just couldn't jive with the plot. I don't know.
I couldn't pay attention. Daredevil was like immediately grasping, and maybe it's because of the slight familiarity with the Daredevil character from the I think it's an 02 film with Ben Affleck.
Batfleck.
I don't dislike Batfleck. I didn't dislike Daredevil in 2002 or whenever it came out.
I gotta be honest. I've only seen that movie one time, so I couldn't tell you whether or not I liked it when I saw it.
I know I liked it when I saw it. I have not seen it since I've been an adult who cares about what makes good cinema. So I have no idea if it's actually any good.
Boys,
I saw it at a time when I would have said that Attack of the Clones was one of my favorite movies. So I just don't know.
I'm gonna tell you something about Marvel. And this may be an unpopular opinion, but nothing Marvel made before the MCU is anywhere close to anything they've made since the MCU.
So you think Spider-Man 1 was worse than Thor: The Dark World?
No, but like you know what I mean though. It's not comparable. And I didn't think Spider-Man 1 was all that good. Tell you the truth. I hate Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I hate him.
What about Amazing Spider-Man 1? That was well.
I liked that one better, but it's just none of them are as good as Homecoming.
Oh God, no! That movie's awesome.
Like not even close. I liked Spider-Man 2 Probably the best of all the pre-MCU Spider-Mans. I loved the X-Men movies. I did. I loved the X-Men movies. They do not hold up.
No, they don't.
Like, and the new ones are just bad.
You didn't like Logan?
I never
amazing.
saw Logan, actually.
Oh, man.
I need to. I just haven't got my hands on it. But, like, I hated Days of Future Past. I hated First Class. I didn't watch Apocalypse because I was just so bored with the new characters.
I like Days of Future Past. I don't know that I saw any of the other ones, though. I saw First Class. I remember being like, this is the best you've got. Who's in it that's really good? Jennifer Lawrence. I was like, this is the best
I didn't like her as Mystique. I didn't like Fassbender as Magneto. It's like he's never going to live up to Ian McKellen. I love Michael Fassbender. He's never going to live up to Ian McKellen.
Have you seen his Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
Man, that was sweet.
That was way better than Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. I didn't hate Ashton Kutcher's. I felt like there's no conflict in Ashton Kutcher. So when it ended, I was like, well,
the issue I had with Jobs with Ashton Kutcher is that, like, he didn't in any way look different than Michael Kelso.
Yeah.
It's like they did nothing to make him not look like just normal Ashton Kutcher.
Fassbender was amazing. That movie was
I love
awesome.
Fassbender.
What is happening?
Love Fassbender. Like,
did you like Assassin's Creed?
I didn't see it.
No.
I didn't see it.
I didn't bother.
What's that weird movie he's in with
Hux?
What's that? Frank? Y'all see that movie? Fred?
Oh, where he's wearing the no,
big...
no, I'm thinking of the Snowman. Is that what that's called?
No, where he's got the big, like, plastic head on the whole time he's in a band.
Oh yeah,
him
Frank.
and Donald Gleason and Maggie Gyllenhaal. That movie was wild.
Frank.
Yeah, I tried to say Fred, but that's like Fred from YouTube.
Yeah.
The glory days.
He's
awful.
awful.
And like Donald Gleason comes and plays keyboard in this wacky band, and he's the only normal human being in this group.
I'm just looking at. There's only a single still so far that I've seen. Oh, there's a bunch. This looks like a worthwhile.
It's a good movie.
Oh, this
it's
is a poster for
if you want like
Mamma Mia.
If you want like a weird, like artsy flick.
Would you say it's a bonkers and brilliant indie comedy?
Oh yeah, it'll leave your head scratching, man. But Fassbender was awesome, especially considering like his face is on screen for like 2 minutes in the movie.
What
like
a weird
he's in that head the whole time.
Oh my gosh, everything about this seems so weird.
It's
who's really good is Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's great.
Yeah, I like her a lot better than her brother. We're completely derailed on the topic now, and we're just talking about movies, and this is generally what happens. But that's okay.
Yeah,
You must know this by
hate
now.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
What?
Yeah, we
Really?
take hard stances here on Bacon and Eggs, and I'm taking the hard stance that Donnie Darko is a piece of crap.
Donnie Darko was great.
I love Donnie Darko. That's a great film.
But you didn't see Nightcrawler?
Nightcrawler was literally the first thing I've ever liked Jake Gyllenhaal in. That movie was incredible.
I actually haven't seen it, but
That
I know that everybody loved
movie
it.
is terrifying. Like his character in that movie is terrifying.
Oh man.
Just never liked him, man. He's like his just whole thing just annoys me. He's got
like sunken
his
eyes.
whole shtick, his whole appearance, the way he talks, the way he acts. Like I'm sure he's been in some great stuff that people love. It's just not my thing, man.
You know, I
can't believe you don't like Donnie Darko though. That's such a good. I mean, I knew this about you, but I'm pretending to be surprised.
Oh no,
for the
I take that
listeners.
back. I take that back. October Sky. I always forget that's him because he's like 12. But
he's great in October Sky.
October Sky was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forgot.
I'm gonna have to politely disagree with you on Jake Gyllenhaal. Actually, I've seen him in some theater, and man, the guy really knows his stuff. He's got a great singing voice also, which a lot of people don't know about.
Oh no, I believe he's a good actor. Like
yeah.
I'm that's what I'm saying. It's like I've seen Nightcrawler. He played that part. That part was terrifying.
I have heard weird things about stuff he does on set though.
Well, see, that's like a.
I mean, actors. That's an actor
actor's
thing,
problem.
but like he like has an assistant that brings him avocados, and he's only allowed to eat avocados on set. It's this bizarre thing.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely think
there's
he's
any
one of
other
those people
food,
we
it's
should be a
weird.
little bit worried about.
I mean, he was in.
Like he should probably have somebody watching him at all times to make sure he doesn't just implode.
Well, tell me, Sam, the actor, people on set, have you worked with Gwyneth Paltrow? Is that something you're allowed to just do? Is she weird? Is she cool? Tell me more about Gwyneth Paltrow. I was having this conversation earlier this week, and people were like, yeah, she's super weird. People hate her, and I don't get it. I think Pepper Potts is a super interesting character, and Shakespeare in Love was super great.
Yeah, but she was bad in Shakespeare in Love.
Isn't Gwyneth Paltrow the one who has like really weird beliefs about flu shots and stuff?
Yeah, she has weird beliefs
I
about
don't know.
everything.
Yeah.
She named her child Apple.
Oh yeah, okay, yes. Yeah, I haven't heard any weird stories about Gwyneth Paltrow. I hear mostly weird stories from my friends who like work in LA and have worked with some of these bigger named actors. Like I've heard weird stories about Anne Hathaway, and I've heard weird stories about Christopher Walken. Those are the two that come up a lot. And then of course after the whole Kevin Spacey thing happened, like we don't want to get too political on the show, but or do we? I don't know if you guys ever go into that realm. But
I mean, we're not going to sit here and be like, we're totally about what Kevin Spacey did to those people. Like, we are not totally about what Kevin Spacey did to those people.
Here at Bacon and Eggs, we do not like what Kevin Spacey did to those people.
Right.
But I like once that all happened, like I heard tons of people being like, "Oh yeah, we've all known about this shirt for a long time."
I thought that was a pretty well-known thing about Kevin Spacey. Like, I had heard.
Well,
things about
I
that.
had heard. I mean, I had heard that he. One, that he was gay. I think that was a thing that we all kind of people in the acting world and people out in California knew. But I had heard that he was like into some weird stuff, but I hadn't heard that he had ever like assaulted anybody. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So it all came when it all happened. People who have done stuff in that area were like, "Oh yeah, that's totally a thing."
Par for the course with Kevin.
Jeez.
I will say, just while we're on the topic of Gwyneth Paltrow, getting back there, her trademarks on IMDb. I don't know how. Like, do you write these about yourself, Sam, or does somebody write them for you?
I think that people, my friends who have IMDb's, I don't have an IMDb because I don't have enough film credits. But my friends who have IMDb's write their own. But I imagine if you're a big enough star like Gwyneth Paltrow or Donald Glover or somebody, you have an assistant that handles all that for you.
Well, I just like imagine this is what baffles me about the acting world. I would love to be able to say these things about myself. Her trademarks are often plays British characters. Okay, that's pretty normal. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Okay, some people are looking for a certain look. Statuesque, model-like figure. How do you write that about yourself?
Those are the first three things about her?
Those are the only three things about her. I'm looking at it right now. This is all it says.
A tall, wafer-thin, delicate beauty, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Kate Paltrow was born in Los Angeles. Good God, yeah, this is... I don't know who writes these. Maybe she wrote it like a long time ago before she got more famous. Although, I don't... When did IMDb happen? You never know about these things.
Yeah, she was confirmed as the next... she was confirmed a Calvin Klein model in 1996 per this article. Anyway,
yeah.
Have you guys seen Force Awakens?
I got to talk about Gwyneth Paltrow here for a second because you brought her up.
Yes,
so let's
do it.
So she's good as I'm gonna rant here for a second. She's good as Pepper Potts, right? We all like Pepper Potts. It's a great character. The chemistry that she has on screen with Robert Downey Jr. is impeccable. It is unseen throughout most superhero movies and even in the rest of the MCU. Is like the way they interact with each other is awesome. She has that really incredibly awkward and well acted scene in the first Iron Man that is awesome with her and Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, she also has that scene with Christine Everhart. I don't know who the actress is, where she's like, and sometimes I take out the trash.
Like, we love Pepper Potts. I'm not here to poop on Pepper Potts. Like, she was great. Her other two known for on IMDb are Sliding Doors, which was just a really bad Face-Off ripoff. Face-Off was great. That movie was not great. And Shakespeare in Love, she was bad. That movie's great for the other 100 big-name actors in it.
Who was she in Shakespeare in Love? Was she not the Juliet type character?
She was a Juliet type character.
Yeah, Viola.
Oh, okay.
But she sucked. That movie was good because of Joseph Fiennes and Jeffrey Rush and Colin Firth and Judi Dench and everybody else that was in that movie.
And not Ben Affleck.
I
will play the part. God, stop. Are you really going to do it like that, Ben? Are you really? Okay.
He is, though. That's the thing, is he is. And he was so good in, when he actually did Shakespeare? Much Ado About Nothing? He was in that, right? I'm not crazy.
What? No, he was in the Romeo and Juliet movie, wasn't he? Didn't he play Paris?
Yeah.
R plus J?
Yeah. He was Montague. Not Montague.
He was Paris, wasn't he?
Was he?
I'm going crazy.
Romeo plus Juliet, the DiCaprio
Romeo plus
one.
Juliet. I'm going to cast.
Mercutio. He plays Mercutio.
Does he?
I think so. Maybe I'm crazy. He plays Mercutio at some point.
No, Harold Perrineau played Mercutio. Man, this is gonna.
Paris was Paul Rudd.
I'm looking for
Paris was Paul Rudd.
Oh, Paul Rudd.
I'm looking for the list of cast.
He's. You're white. You're Ben Affleck.
I swear to God, Ben Affleck was in Much Ado About Nothing. With Denzel Washington? Maybe I'm crazy. The Kenneth Branagh movie?
No, that's Keanu Reeves.
Oh, yep. Okay. If you're white,
Keanu
you're Ben
Reeves,
Affleck,
man.
turns out.
Yeah, if you're white, you're Ben Affleck. It's true.
That was a movie right there.
Role models?
Yeah. Why do I think of Ben Affleck as playing Mercutio?
I couldn't tell you, man.
That's so weird.
I don't know.
I'm looking at the cast
did his
for
character
Romeo
do it?
and Juliet right now.
Did his character do it in Shakespeare in Love? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yes, he played Mercutio in Shakespeare in Love. That's why.
He was the character playing Mercutio.
Yeah, because he was the guy. He said, "What is the name of the play?" Mercutio. Yeah. I will play the part. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I'm not crazy here. Like, I can't figure out why I'm not crazy, but I'm not.
I was just having a hard time putting two and two together.
All right, that's end rant on Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow is bad in most things.
But good as Pepper Potts.
Good as Pepper Potts. Also, never watch Mordecai. Just as long as we're talking about Gwyneth Paltrow. That was possibly the most disappointing Johnny Depp movie ever made.
Was it? I didn't see it. I thought it looked silly. Was it not good? Didn't come out good?
It didn't come out. It wasn't like a good silly.
27 on Metacritic.
Mordecai.
So Mordecai with the mustache.
Yeah, it like just came out. He's like a detective or something, right?
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Yeah, it looked bad.
It was bad.
Johnny Depp has just gone downhill.
I mean, I don't know. Would we say that?
Yeah.
Would we say that?
Yeah, I would say that.
Was he ever on top of the hill?
Yeah, absolutely. He was absolutely on top of the hill. At one point, yeah, he really was. I mean, even when he was doing Pirates, like, that was some of his peak stuff.
I don't know. He's about to be Grindelwald.
He already is Grindelwald, and like a lot of people aren't excited about it.
Well, I mean, that movie hasn't come out yet. Like, he was Grindelwald for 1 second.
He was Grindelwald at the end of the first one. Yeah,
but he was Grindelwald literally for like 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. He was as much Grindelwald as Mark Hamill is Luke Skywalker in this movie that we're talking about, which is Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Man, we're about at rank time.
Yeah, any final thoughts? Anybody, did we miss anything? I mean, obviously we missed stuff because this is such an in-depth movie. That really doesn't miss a beat the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it goes everywhere.
So,
it's still hard to watch Han Solo die.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Even my 10th time watching it, it's just like, no, we can't do this.
But they did.
Oh,
so, whatever.
Yeah, R2-D2, okay. R2-D2 in low power mode. This is my one big complaint, and even the first time I watched this movie, I was like, boo. The droids having emotions thing, I wanted to hear you guys weigh in on this topic, because there are some times where I find it acceptable, and there are some times, and I think it's just when C-3PO says stuff that I'm just like, can we knock it off with the idea that
C-3PO has his
have emotions?
best line in this movie. Like, out of all C-3PO lines, the thing where he talks about the red arm, that's the only funny thing C-3PO's ever done.
That's the truth. But the question is, how do I feel about droids having feelings? I think it's confirmed in this movie more than anything that they care.
Yeah.
But I'm with you, is that when they were like, he's been in low power mode ever since Master Skywalker went away, I was like, why?
Because he's depressed. He gave up.
Like, what happened?
He's lost the will to live? Okay, Padme. Like, come on back, bro. Do your droid thing.
R2-D2 has a broken heart. It's my one thing, and I know it's such a small little thing, but it's just like my one thing that I was always like, why did we need that line? I mean, it's a plot device to not get us the map until the end of the movie.
Right.
But I just thought it was silly.
I love BB-8 though. Oh man, like I love BB-8.
BB-8 can do whatever he wants.
The first time you see him in this movie, and like Rey's walking away from him, and he looks so sad, and he's literally just a ball with half a ball on top of him.
He's a ball with a head,
and he's just so sad. Like, you feel so bad for this droid. And then she's like, "Fine, you can come with me, but you're gone in the morning." He's just like, and I'm like, "Yeah, you go, buddy. You're great. I love BB-8. BB-8 cannot be overstated. There never has been a better droid.
There really has. He's that good. Like, let's get into some rankings though.
Okay.
So we got to rank a villain. We've got to rank this amongst the other Star Wars movies. We have to rank it amongst all of our movies, and we have to give it a breakfast food.
Sam, do you have a breakfast food ready to go?
I do have a breakfast food ready to go.
Perfect.
And I'm so glad you asked.
We'll get there in a minute.
I was so excited. Yeah.
We'll get there in a minute. So,
cool.
The villain, Kylo Ren.
I love Kylo Ren. A lot of people don't like him because he looks like he weighs 40 pounds soaking wet.
He's actually huge.
But
he's jacked.
Yeah, he's quite large. I love that when he took the helmet off, just echoing this, what we talked about earlier, he's just like, who the heck is that? Who's Adam Driver? It's that he's not some big name. As far as other Star Wars villains go, he's way more interesting than like the Trade Federation goons from Phantom Menace or Darth Maul for that
What do you think
matter.
about him compared to Vader?
Well, he's not
Yeah,
Vader.
I know.
He's like, if you just look at original trilogy, he's way more interesting than Vader. And what makes Vader interesting is the prequels, is like knowing who he is and how he fell in love with Padme, and now he's got these children that he cares about, and he fell in love on Naboo because he doesn't like sand. I think Kylo Ren is a much more deep and interesting character, and it didn't take 6 movies to establish
There's
that.
so much more betrayal in his backstory than there was in Vader's, So it's almost sacrilegious, I feel, to say that one could like Kylo Ren more than Vader, but just he is so much more of a deep and dark and sort of disturbed character. Knowing what we know about Anakin Skywalker from the prequel movies, because it is canon, he was kind of a whiny little And he was, and then he turns into this crazy monster who's Darth Vader, the most powerful Force user in the galaxy aside from the Emperor, who instills the fear into the hearts of millions of people on hundreds of different planets. Knowing who he was growing up in the Jedi Temple, just saying, like, "Can I be a master?" And they were like, "Well, think about it." And he's like, "I'm gonna go kill a lot of people." It's a little bit sad thinking about that, but then we see Kylo Ren and we get his backstory later in The Last Jedi, and we know why his why is so much stronger than Vader's why, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think he's way more interesting. Ethan, what are your
I'm
thoughts
100%
here?
in agreement. He's a much more complex and better written character. And it proves, and I disagree with the review I read at the beginning of this, it proves once and for all that George Lucas is not Star Wars, and that when you actually write a script, it turns out better.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it's way more
Like
interesting.
when you do it well, because that's what this is to me. Is a Star Wars movie. It is a definitely a different version of A New Hope, but it is A New Hope made by people that know how to make movies and aren't just guessing at everything.
Yeah.
So I'm all in favor of Kylo Ren. We rank them on a scale of Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face from Batman Forever to Heath Ledger as the Joker from The Dark Knight. And he's definitely on the Heath Ledger side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do we go in order with villains, or do we not do that?
No, it's just a kind of scale, sliding scale.
Gotcha.
It's
gotcha.
one
Yeah,
too many things to keep
definitely-
up with, honestly.
Yeah, definitely a 7 or an 8 on the leaning towards the Heath Ledger side.
Yeah. Like, is it as great of a performance as Heath Ledger as the Joker? No. He's a solidly written villain, and he's got a lot more complex issues that are going to come up in the next movie and the one after that. So...
He's so interesting. He's a very
And this is
cool
such
character.
a good setup for his character leading into The Last Jedi, which is really a movie about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's talk of the Star Wars movies. Where does this
It's better
fall?
than Empire Strikes
I think
Back.
you think it's better.
I think
than
it's
Empire
better than
Strikes
Empire
Back.
Strikes Back. I think that it is everything Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope are, while also being a good movie.
I think Empire Strikes Back.
This is a good movie. If this was not Star Wars, it would still be a good movie.
It's a better standalone movie than Empire is.
Empire's got that scene where Han's looking at Leia and Leia says, "I love you," and he says, "I know." Ugh.
I mean, that's a
I'm
great
torn.
scene.
I'm torn between the two of them.
Y'all can be torn. I'm not. Empire's a great movie. It is not God's gift to cinema. Sorry.
Oh yes, it is.
Got Billy D. Williams in it. We got No Luke, I Am Your Father in it.
Yeah, it's got the whole Lando thing.
So, you used Lando as a negative when we reviewed Empire.
I did. But you know what's going to happen in 2 weeks? Is Solo's going to come out, and the most talented man on Earth is going to make everybody be like, Lando is the coolest, most interesting character
Absolutely. 100% true. The character
But
of Lando
until that
Calrissian.
day,
The
but until
character,
that day, we can't use that as a means to make it better.
much like the prequels
Right.
made Darth Vader better, Solo is going to achieve nothing other than to A, probably make me hate Han Solo, and B, definitely make Lando Calrissian one of the best characters ever.
Donald Glover is the greatest thing that's ever happened to Earth.
The man does it all.
He can't dance. Have you seen the This Is America video?
Oh
He's
my
dancing.
god.
But it is a sweet video.
Very cool. It's very, very thought-provoking.
Yeah. I don't know where I land on the statements it's making, if I'm supposed to land anywhere, but it definitely makes
It's
me
like
think.
Black Panther. It's not made for me.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely not made for us. Yeah, not at all. But it's made to make us think, and that's important.
Correct.
I don't know if I could say it's better than Empire Strikes Back, Ethan. You're ripping my heart
I mean,
out here.
you like
I think-
Empire
listen,
better
here's-
because
I think-
you've been told to like Empire better for the last, as long as you've been watching Star Wars. Because people came to you when you were a kid and said, "Kid, this is the only movie that matters." But
is
it's
the only
not.
movie
This
that
is a
matters.
better movie.
You're breaking my heart.
I think I have to go with Ethan on this one. I mean, I know I don't choose the rankings, but I have to go with Ethan on
Oh
this
no,
one.
you're part of it for sure. Like that's part of the interest
Yeah,
of
no.
bringing the guest on here is like the guest definitely gets to weigh in.
I am honored. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with.
why we
I'm
didn't
gonna.
let John
I'm gonna
on talk
really,
about
really
Guardians.
have to go with Ethan. I mean, it's so close. It's like it's splitting hairs, really. If we wanted to, it's a whole other podcast to say like which is a better movie.
Look,
Between these two.
okay, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna explain to you why I think, and this is gonna kind of tie into the next statement. This is a better movie than Infinity War. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It just is a
not.
better movie than Infinity War.
I will not place it
It's
higher.
better though. It just is literally better than Infinity War. And if it's better than Infinity War, it cannot be worse than Empire.
It's not better than
It
Infinity
is,
War.
though.
I was afraid you were going to make this argument that this was like the best movie we've ever reviewed.
It is the best movie
it's
we've ever
super good.
reviewed.
Oh,
Like,
God.
yes, Infinity War is great. It's the greatest Marvel movie ever made. I get that. But this is Star Wars, man. Like, this is above and beyond what Infinity War is and can be. Because you can still feel tense, and you can still, and I'm trying not to spoil anything for Sam here, obviously, or anybody else is listening, but you can still feel tense. You feel the fight. You feel the problems. You feel the characters facing off against each other. It doesn't rely on big names or big characters or big backstories. And you can feel everything behind the movie. It still makes you feel like you're in a tense, incredible movie, and you can still walk out of this movie not feeling like you just had your heart smashed.
You absolutely feel like you had your heart smashed walking out of this movie. Han Solo is dead.
Yeah,
Ethan.
but Rey wins.
If I may weigh in, there is no film franchise, in my opinion, that has had as much of a far-reaching effect on the world or in my heart as the Star Wars film franchise. There are so many beautiful moments in all of the films, but in this film especially. I have never felt the emotional attachment I have had to any character in any film that I have to Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or Princess Leia. And having said that, not having seen Infinity War, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
I mean, listen, I agree. It's all right there, okay? And it's probably, if you ask me 6 months from now, I will probably, I'm afraid if I finish this sentence, you guys are going to be like, well, there's your answer.
I can already tell you this movie ages better than Infinity War.
Yeah.
I don't know,
I want to go watch this movie again. I just watched it this morning.
I want to go watch
This movie ages better than all the MCU movies.
And I want to see Infinity War again because I feel like I have to, not because I want to.
Oh, I want to. I want to feel that way again. I'm like high on that feeling.
This is such a tough conversation to have without talking about Infinity War.
Like what happened?
I know. I'm so sorry, guys.
Well, no, we weren't gonna spoil it anyway. Like that's not like there's still a bunch of
It's
people.
actually better that you're here because now
Have you guys reviewed it yet?
Yeah,
Yeah, you did. Okay,
last
so there's
week.
still a bunch of people who haven't.
Right,
seen
yeah.
it.
There's still a bunch of people that haven't seen it. Like, there's a bunch of people who haven't been able to, that are just getting around to like being able to go to a showing because every showing in their area is sold out. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's got that X factor.
They both do. Like no other movie other than these two films. And I'll listen. And maybe Empire, you can throw Empire in the conversation. No other film other than these super films do what they do. You know, you've got movies like A Quiet Place that's all self-contained. And it's all right there. But this is, you've got years and years and years of characters that build you up. And what I think gives points to Star Wars, and I feel like people are going to start learning how I concede things. But what I think gives points to Star Wars is that Star Wars made movies in 1977, 1980, and 1982, right? Those are the years?
77, 80, and 83.
77, 80, and 83. And they were all great. People mostly liked all three of them. And then they came around and made three movies from 99 to 2005 that people freaking hate. They absolutely hate the prequels. Like, the internet just destroyed them. They are Nick Cage playing Nickelback, like, on tour with Dick Nixon. Like, it is as bad as it could get.
What a description.
What an image.
Like,
look at these bees!
Oh my god.
Right, but like, that's what people did to the prequels. And then this movie came out and everybody was like, I forgive you, Star Wars. And that's important. The people are like, this is the greatest film franchise ever. Nothing has ever made me feel the way that this does. Like, it has been since 1983, 10 years before I was born, that they made a good film.
This is the first watchable, like, solid, good Star Wars film in 32 years. And that's what I think gives it points over Infinity War. Infinity War had to smack you in the face every 5 minutes for 10 years to do what it did.
And yeah,
there was some
like,
bad
you know,
movies.
Right, but you know that meme where it's just one guy laying on the ground getting beat up by a bunch of people with baseball bats?
I don't, but I'm sure.
You know what I'm talking about.
Is that the
It's
MCU?
Yeah, that's the MCU. It's like you would just list the names of Marvel movies over top of that. And the one about to swing on the guy is Infinity War, because that's that. And I love Infinity War. I loved it. But that's how it feels, is they're just sitting there like, you will like this movie or else.
I mean, you cannot not make the argument. Listen, like, we're talking about Titans here. We're talking about the best of the best. Like, we chose the MCU and Star Wars because these are the best film franchise, in my mind. That, like, I care way more about these characters than I do any other series of characters. And I love Harry Potter. I love the Pixar movies. I love the Disney movies. I love all the other franchises out there. But, like, these are the two we chose because they're the best of the best. And Marvel has been on such a good run. It's not just Infinity War being so great. It's like Black Panther was exceptionally good. It wasn't just another Marvel movie. Thor Ragnarok was amazing. Like, it changed changed a character that a lot of people didn't even care about and didn't even like. And now it's like Thor's the guy, you know? He's the dude. And Spider-Man was so good, and Doctor Strange was really good, although more formulaic than the other newer ones. But like that lead up and all of those good things, they matter. And Infinity War is so good, and the characters work so well together, and it's so big, and it deserves to be as epic as it is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think you might be right that this movie aged so well, and it's got that scene in the forest with the lightsaber and the battle and the sound and the emotions are really there. They haven't made a good movie with a good character in 32 years, and they literally killed Han Solo right in front of you. Right there.
And this movie just presents a certain intimacy that Infinity War lacks completely.
Not
Almost
completely.
Everything about Infinity War is in your face, large scale, like 10 people on screen at one time. Let's go.
I think you're omitting and this might be nitpicking on Infinity War, but you're omitting a very important relationship between two characters that has been gut-wrenching to everybody since they saw it. Who cares about those characters?
I think I know which one you're talking about.
It picks up from Spider-Man Homecoming.
Then, yeah, I mean, that's great and all, but that's like 30 seconds of movie. It was, but it was like 30 seconds of movie.
Where do you stand, Ty?
I feel bad about it. I think we can say it's
Boom.
the best.
Infinity War stood for 1 week.
Wow, we just watched
mighty
Ty
Duke
talk his way out of that. We didn't chime in for most of that whole thing.
You'd be amazed, and I know you listen to the podcast, but this happens a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Where Ty comes out swinging and changes his mind.
But I was here for the drama, man.
Right.
It's so good to be here firsthand and I'm like leaning into my computer, like, is he gonna do it?
He changes his mind
go?
mid-debate, and at the end makes you think it was his idea.
Well, what happens is I'll take my stance, right? And then Ethan will present the other viewpoint, and he won't even defend it. And I'll be like, okay, how would that side see it? And then I'll just start defending it from that side. And then I'll be like, you know what? This is some really good points.
I legitimately walked in this conversation, and I felt like just turning on the microphone and going, why are we even talking about this? Obviously, it's the best. Move on. See you next week. Because that's how good it was.
I mean, and at the end of the day, you got to think, it's freaking Star Wars, dude.
It's the king.
Are there movies I love more than this? Absolutely. If we end up reviewing those movies, am I going to put them above it? I don't know. But for now, this is better than Infinity War, and Infinity War is better than Empire. And I don't know. It's a tough call. They're all great movies. Can't take anything away from any of them except the Phantom Menace. Get the hell out of here.
God, just stain on Star Wars.
Sam, when was the last time you watched the Phantom Menace?
It was on TV a couple of days ago, and I was like, all right, no, for real, it was on like TNT, or I was flipping through Hulu, and it was on TNT, and I came in like at a scene I didn't remember with some bad acting between the girl who's pretending to be Padme and the kid playing Anakin, and I was like, nah, I'm not watching this today.
I'm a person, and my name is Anakin.
We went into doing the prequels, and I was prepared to defend the Phantom Menace as being better than Attack of the Clones, as being the best of the prequels, because in my mind, that's how I remembered it, and that's how I remembered it, legitimately, because I don't think I had seen it since I was 7, and so I watched it and I was like, this is a dumpster fire.
It's all over the place. The pacing is terrible. Who cares about trade disputes? Somebody was defending it on Twitter today. To us.
I listened to you guys' episode about the Phantom Menace, and I listened to you guys say, like, oh, how bad, like, just, it's a dumpster fire, all these bad things, and then somehow in my brain, I was like, Star Wars, I should go home and watch the Phantom Menace. I should just go, now that I'm thinking about it, I should go do it. And I got home and I told my girlfriend that, and she slapped me in the face. So, it's a very polarizing film. It's a very, very polarizing film. So, yeah.
It's a trash fire. It's legitimately...
It's so bad!
Like, we could review a lot of, like, it got like a 50 on Rotten Tomatoes, or 55 or something like that, and that's just...
That high?
That's ridiculous, because, like, Rotten Tomatoes loves to hate on newer superhero movies, but, like, Batman vs. Superman got, like, a 24, and it's easily 12 times better than the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. It's just got the Martha thing. That was really the only problem.
And, like, George Clooney's Batman with the nipples has, like, a 12%, and, like, that's better than the Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace is bad.
Yeah.
It's a bad film.
It's a bad film. It's just awful. Anyway, we need a breakfast food. Sam, you said you had one.
I have a breakfast food. I would say that this is
This is a full breakfast straight out of IHOP's kitchen. This is bacon, eggs, and toast and potatoes. You have everything that you need. You have all your fixings. You got everything that you need. You have ketchup. You have all of your butter and your spreads and your jam. You got it all on your plate. You have a perfect plate. You have your cup of coffee right there. But they didn't give you a napkin. So you're just leaving it on you for the rest of the day. It's just there, staying with you, no matter what you do.
That's awesome.
You got that at IHOP, or did you get that at like a... I feel what you're saying with IHOP, that it's like a major chain, right? It's a huge franchise. Mm-hmm. But I also kind of feel like it could have been at like a niche.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more homegrown.
Yeah,
a little bit more of a. We have something out here. Why am I blanking on the name right now? We have a very, very small chain out here that does breakfast omelets. That's freaking amazing, and every time I go there, it's just the greatest food that I've ever had.
You say breakfast omelets as though there's another specific time of day omelet.
Yeah, my dinner omelet. It does.
Yeah, you
What's
don't
in
do
a
dinner
dinner
omelets where you're
omelet?
from, Ethan?
What are those flat pan? Oh, it's called, the place is called
gravy.
Crepeville. It's a chain out here, and we have a couple of them in Sacramento. And Crepeville, just like you guys are familiar with crepes being breakfast food podcast. But they put they have so many. They have like Denver style crepes, and they have the California, which of course has bacon and avocado on it, and just it's a restaurant.
Millennials.
If you go to a restaurant, and because I'm a native of Virginia, if you go to a restaurant in California and you don't ask for avocado on your breakfast food, they can immediately spot that you're not a native Californian.
You dang Californians. It's your freaking bear
We
flag.
like our avocado and our marijuana and our bacon.
Fair enough.
It's a good time.
Can't argue with that.
Good
Well,
time.
I love
You
your
guys should-
breakfast
you
food.
You guys should come out here. It's great. Yeah. So that's my breakfast food choice.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll
So,
take it.
Sam, what's next for Sam Jones? How's Horsehound Hogbear Fire doing?
Horsehound Hogbear Fire. Horsehound Hogbear Fire died a fiery death because it was too long of a name for people to remember. But this is how we learn.
I quietly had that criticism. I was like, I don't know Sam that well.
No,
we haven't really spoken since
have
we left
it.
college. Like, I saw him do an open mic night a couple times, and like we had chit chats. And like, I'm not gonna call this dude out and be like, this is an awful band name that nobody's gonna remember.
Dude, have your criticisms, please. I need them. I need people to call me out on my BS. So that was very, very short lived. But since I've dropped the name, I have started booking some more shows and everything, just going under Sam C. Jones, which is my professional acting name. I realized that Ty asked me like, "Hey, who are you?" And I did not give an answer. I just said, "Good to be here," and then we didn't talk about who I am at all. Maybe we can splice this up and put this in a different place. So
For those of you who don't know,
Your
Sam
name's in the
Jones is the world's
description.
most talented human being to come from the college that we went to.
Yeah, holy crap. Sam Jones won like an open mic contest for a Relay for Life show. We were like, man, we should have won that. And Sam went up there and we were like, holy crap, Sam totally should have won that. And he just embarrassed the crap out of us. He did like a 20-minute nonstop set of every song you've ever heard, and he had the whole crowd singing along. It was great. It was a good time.
yeah, it's still something I'm working on. So that
Sam
20-minute
Jones.
set has turned into a little bit of a longer set.
Sam Jones comes to open mic nights for random sororities and sings Frank Turner songs. A man after my own heart.
Oh man, yeah. So I mean, things are going good. Since I dropped the crazy, ridiculous. If anyone wants to Google Horsehound Hogbear Fire, you can see all of my lame attempts at really trying to make it work, and you can all laugh at me for it. I'm not above it. The page is still up.
You
and
had, like,
can
a
look
cool
at the whole
aesthetic.
thing. It was cool, and I got my buddy Daniel Haskett to. He was another CNU guy to make like the logos and all of that stuff for it. So it was really like I kind of did a little bit of a labor of love, but I think I just moved too quickly without really thinking it
Is
through.
that papyrus?
It is papyrus, and that was not my idea.
Oh my god.
Papyrus! Papyrus!
I know what you did.
Papyrus! Just that over and over again.
Yeah, that. The greatest thing Ryan Gosling's ever done.
It's my favorite SNL skit ever of all time.
I know what
If
you
there's another
did.
SNL skit that needs to be made into a movie, it's that one. I need literally a secret window type movie of Ryan Gosling chasing down the guy that made the logo for
Oh my god.
for Avatar.
Yeah, it was a very, very
Shakira merch.
so HHFB Buck Nuggets, whatever it was, you know. It was a very Horsehound Hogbear Fire was a very short-lived project that I decided was like, let's just kill this, let's kill it. You know, we all have to kill our babies every once in a while. Which is okay because I was so glad that Bacon and Eggs worked out so well for you guys, but. Since I dropped the band name thing and just started using my own name, and I started calling clubs in Sacramento and in the Bay Area, I'm starting to book more gigs just playing my own music. So the acting career has been going really, really well. So hopefully we can like cut this up and put this more towards the beginning of the pod. I don't know how you guys edit your stuff, but that it feels so short-lived. I moved out to Sacramento right after I graduated from CNU, and I was working as an acting intern for the Sacramento Theater Company, and I'm still working there now. I'm working in a play called Man of La Mancha right now.
I've actually seen that play.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah.
And immediately following that, I'm jumping into rehearsals for $1 Million Quartet, where I'm going to play Elvis. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a blast. I'm so excited to do it. But then after that, I'm taking a little bit of a break so I can focus on my own music, and I'm going back into the recording studio to get some of this stuff recorded, and I'm hiring some musicians to play as like a backing band for me. And a lot of that stuff is going to be made available probably near the end of the year, so I can make sure I get it all mixed and mastered and looking really, really good. So that's sort of what I'm up to right now. So while I'm not focusing on my lucrative theater career, I'm trying to build a singer-songwriter career.
Yeah, the singer-songwriter thing was something I always fantasized doing, but then I just joined a band instead.
And your band's doing great, right?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, you guys sound great.
Thank you. We just did a tour. That was fun. It was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I keep trying to play it off as like, oh, that wasn't a cool thing I did, but like it was a pretty cool thing I did.
Of course it's cool. Of course it was a cool thing you did. You should be very proud of any time you get to go chase the dream and do stuff like that.
Myself.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Doesn't sound like it.
No, Gwyneth Paltrow describes herself as
I was gonna say,
statuesque.
I'm not an actor, so I can't necessarily pull off that particular brand of loving myself.
Yeah. Well, and there's something to being a good actor also means that you have to learn some level of humility with yourself. So while, it's nice to be able to talk about yourself to your friends on your favorite podcast, I can't go around everywhere I go telling people like, oh, I'm a singer-songwriter, I'm this, and I'm playing Elvis. And like, not everybody wants to hear that stuff about me. So a lot of times I just tell people like, yeah, I live in Sacramento and I have a dog that I love, That's what I like to learn about other people rather than just kind of blabbing about myself. So I understand not a quote unquote being proud of yourself all the time.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to a new album. I can't wait to hear it. It's gonna be good, I'm sure.
I've been listening to the live recordings.
They're getting better. We got some people who really know how to use those cell phones. So yeah,
sure.
man.
Oh man, cell phones.
Well, let's do some sign off.
Go for it, Tyler.
Well, this has been Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin. I'm with Ethan Edgeshill every week. This week our guest was Sam Jones, singer, songwriter, actor, model, whatever you want to call him. He'll pay him money and he'll do your thing for you. Today we reviewed Star Wars The Force Awakens, and we ranked it the best movie we've ever discussed. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to shoot us an email. The link to our email is in the doobly-doo, as well as contact information for Ethan, myself, and Sam. That's going to be on Instagram, Twitter, and the podcast is on Twitter as Bacon and Eggs 23. Ton of fun over there, tweeting out Star Wars memes and reminders to listen to the show and all that good stuff. You can also support the show if you like it. You can go to patreon.com/baconandeggs. Patreon is this really cool service where you can voluntarily pay to support artists that you love and want to make sure that they're able to continue to do their art. For us, it's podcasting, and there's a bunch of different reward tiers. You can go as little as $1 a month just to say that, hey, I'm here to help you out. Or for $50 a month, you can actually come on and interrupt the show, pick a movie, we'll review whatever you want with you on the show. It's a lot of fun, and we have an amazing Discord community where you can meet a whole bunch of new people and do all sorts of cool things. Next week, we will be reviewing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, right?
Yes. Yes, we will.
We're very excited. It's finally our chance to break off from major franchises and dive into some of our favorite classic films, or at least classic to our lives.
Just gonna say, that movie's 8 years old.
Yeah, classic to me, whatever. That's a third of my life. Ethan, do you have any final things to say?
I don't, man. I love this movie, though. Thank you guys for listening again to another great episode of Bacon and Eggs. And until next week, arrivederci.
You got it. No pressure.
Pressure.
Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety.